Hey everyone, the Talking Dads podcast is brought to you by Little Scholars Early Learning Center. Whether your family needs infant care, a preschool program, or before and after school care, Little Scholars' highly rated Step Up to Quality programs provide quality early childhood education at an affordable price. Visit www.littlescholars.net to get in contact with an enrollment specialist and schedule a tour of any of their 5 Lake County campuses. Here's the deal. Talking Dads fans are getting a little bonus. Mention that you heard about them through our podcast, and when you tour, and you'll receive $25 off of your registration fee. Again, that's Little Scholars Early Learning Center, where children learn, play, and grow together. We are also brought to you by Pub Fredo Gastropub. Pub Fredo was voted Best Gastropub in Cleveland in 2019 by Cleveland Magazine Silver Spoon Awards. We love Pub Fredo. Their menu is chef-inspired, always pushing the limits of traditional pub fare. The other night I had a burger, I believe it was called the Pub Burger. It was incredible. Cooked perfectly. It was amazing. And you won't have a problem pairing your favorite item on the menu with their great selection of local craft beers, crafted cocktails, and of course, an amazing bourbon and whiskey selection. I went with the Bullet 10-year with my Pub Burger. All of this in a cozy, fun, come-as-you-are atmosphere. You can check them out at pubfredo.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Pubfredo Gastropub. What's up, beautiful people? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Talking Dads. This week's guest is a dad of 2, Chris Elsing, who came in studio, and we just had an absolute blast. We, of course, gotten into a lot of the dad topics, but really we reminisced about, old movies, old video games, TV channels. It was really just kind of a blast from the past. Didn't know him before we got in studio, but man, we talked like we'd been best friends forever. We had a really good time. Hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think, and have a great weekend.
In a world where moms continue to dominate parenting authority and a father's role is minimized in society, 2 dads take on the toughest parenting topics on a weekly basis, all while drinking bourbon. They are the Talking Dads.
All right. We are good, guys.
We're good? We're recording?
Oh, we're recording.
All right.
So-
What's up, man? Welcome to the collab. We are, as always, at our wonderful studio, Collab by Notion. It's a nice, cool night.
It is. Nice fall night.
Yeah.
Which is, I kind of love fall. I don't know about you guys, but
This is like, I wore long sleeves today just because I had the opportunity to wear long sleeves. I didn't even really need it. I just get excited to wear hoodies and stuff.
Exactly. Like I'm wearing a hoodie tonight, and I'm like, like right at the moment, I'm like, probably take this off.
As soon as I got in here, I took mine off. Like, I'm going to sweat.
Because I did the same thing last night. I wore that long sleeve shirt in here.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta get that off. Like, turn the air conditioning on, and when we got in here, damn it.
It's all good. Before we get too far into it, Chris, why don't you we call it a dad profile, give us who you are, your name, what you do, what kind of makes you a dad.
Gotcha. My name's Chris, born and raised Northeast Ohio. Father of 2. I got a 6-year-old daughter, a 4-year-old son. I'm a concrete finisher for a living. Grew up doing all sorts of construction, and just that's been my main trade, and it's been going good for me. Nice. I got nieces, nephews, stuff like that, and that just kind of bred me into being the dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a good first start to see how it really was, and then shit, you guys know how it is. It's life now.
Absolutely, man. It is.
Life.
It is.
It's literally
it's everything.
life.
But like, I remember when my nephews were like, because I was always like hesitant, like, dude, do I even want to be a dad or a parent? Or It's a huge responsibility. And then like when my first nephew was born, and I like seen it, and it was like there, and like I seen how my brother reacted to it and everything. I'm like, this is legit. You know what I mean? Like, this is the real deal. So
Absolutely, man. I could definitely agree with you on that, because when my niece was born, so she's 9 now. And man, same thing. Like, I was in love with her. Like, I was all about it. Like, I thought she was the greatest thing ever. I loved hanging out with her. I would like volunteer to babysit.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
I'm
like, I think I love this.
Yes.
Like, so.
Yeah, see, I didn't have that.
No.
Like, I had even cousins, my closest cousin in age is like 9 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
like,
everybody else.
I was the oldest, so I didn't have any experience at all. I mean, experience with like the daycares and shit
Yeah,
like that. But yeah, I didn't have that. So that's pretty cool though that you got to kind of get a taste.
Well, and like with being like a uncle, I can imagine it's kind of like what being a grandparent is. You get all the benefits of like the
Absolutely.
baby and
Absolutely.
the kid, but none of the responsibility. Like with the uncle, it's like, all right, I'm out. I'll just buy him some stuff, drop it
Exactly.
out, hang out, and leave. And
You're like, I'll show up with a drum set or something and drop this off.
Dude,
and they're just flicking you off as you walk out the door. Like, thank you. Thanks, Chris.
My nephew is like hardcore musician. He's like totally gifted, and he plays like saxophone, drums, piano. He did like a little YouTube concert last week. It's awesome.
That's amazing.
But yeah, drum set was one of the things we bought. So that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's got to come from the Funkle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah. They're like, oh, here he comes.
Yeah.
But I've gotten that stuff in payback. Like,
Oh yeah.
now everybody buys me the garbage toys that I brought.
Yep.
Like,
Damn it.
like my kid's
Karma's a
gonna play-
bitch.
My kid's gonna play with this for a week. You know what I mean? And then
Just
I'm
gonna
gonna
sit
end up
there.
stepping on it.
Throw it in the pile.
Yeah. Thanks for those set of Legos. That was very
Oh
beneficial.
yeah, Legos, man. I love the Legos.
I love Legos.
I do, but they're such a pain in the ass. Actually, we kind of put them off to the side for a little while, and the kids found them the other day, and they're just everywhere again.
The nostalgia of it like kind of wears off. Like
Yeah.
you're like, this is awesome.
At
I'm
first,
glad
yeah.
he's really
Yeah.
into this. And then like after day 3 or 4, you're like, all right, dude, now you're stepping on him.
Yeah.
Yep, you're like,
Picking
we
them
put
up
these
everywhere.
away.
Yeah.
We hid them. I'm like, I don't want them out. I'm like, I just want to hide them for a little while. And then when they found them, they were actually under my bed. I had like this huge box of Legos, and the kids were looking for something. They found them, and I come out, and they're just all over the floor.
Yeah.
And they're Dad. And then my older son, he's 4, and he's very particular, and like he knows what pieces are missing, and he'll make me search and find that exact piece. I'm like, well, we just replace it with this one. He's like, it's not the same color. It's not the right piece. I'm like, can we just half-ass this and just make
It's
it
not
work?
happening.
No,
That's
he's
what
like,
toddlers-
he's like pointing at the direction. He's like, see, right there. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, I thought it was out.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite because like Gibbs has these like he's really into Marvel, like all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
he's got this like Thanos character or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, the
And-
Legos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there's like one piece that's been missing since day frickin' one.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care. And I'm like, dude, you need to find this piece. I'm not buying you another one until you find this piece. And he goes, it's fine, Dad. We can just use this one. It's like the wrong shape, wrong color. I'm like,
is Sam your son and Gibson mine?
might be. I don't know. It's possible.
Oh, God, man. Yeah, I don't know. With all the toys, I don't even know.
The toy thing though, it's like we've been on the thing where like my wife like once a month will just take a garbage bag, and like if she ain't seen you play with it in like a month or two, it's going in the bag, it's getting donated, getting thrown out, whatever the case may be. It's like too much.
It is. And the tough part is too, like you have family members that buy stuff. Like think of birthdays are the worst. I love them. Trust me, I love them.
yeah.
But it's like so much stuff coming in, and you're like all these new toys, and like where the hell are we gonna put the rest of this shit? We did the same thing. Like we were gonna donate all these toys. We had bags filled. We had them in the basement, like tucked over by like my workbench. And the kids found it.
Oh God.
Sam's like, why is this in this bag? And they ripped the entire bag apart and put everything back together. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like,
And then they'll act like it's a big deal. Like, oh, I wanted that so bad. Like you didn't even know that thing
no,
existed.
exactly. You haven't played with that in over a year.
Yeah,
It's been gone.
I know we do that all the time. Like we have like a limited amount of toy storage, and that's what they're allowed to have.
Yeah.
And once it starts getting filled, we know birthdays are coming up or Christmas is coming up, or he really, one of the Gibbs always he picks things out in stores, and he's like, well, I want to do this, and I try and make him like work for it.
Yeah.
He's 5, so whatever. But like
He ain't pulling.
I'm like, all right,
No,
well,
yeah, he's like, no. He's like, so I helped out with that. Can I have that toy now?
yeah. No. He's like, I helped. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't do shit.
But no, so like I'll tell him though, I'm like, all right, you got to pick something to get rid of that's the same size. So like if he wants something that's kind of big, he's got to look at something. He's like, all right, well, I don't really play it, and I kind of force him. And then the good thing for them is what we always do is we then donate the stuff back to the daycare. So I own child care centers for a living.
Nice.
And so it's a good stream of new toys for the centers.
Yeah. And it shows give back.
And it shows him that he needs to give back and everything. And then, but he's caught on to it now. He's like, all right, well, I can just go and like hang out over there for a little bit and get to play with those toys again.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that too? So my
win-win.
kids went to his daycares and the ones that he owns, and I remember we dropped off a ton of toys, like my kids' toys.
Yeah.
We donated them to the daycare. Well, it's funny because Sam saw them, at the daycare. He's like,
pissed?
He's like, "Look, it's mine." I'm like, he's telling me when he gets home, he's like, they have my toys. I'm like, they're not yours, buddy. And I'm like, and they actually make more than just one. Yeah. So other people have those toys. Yeah, they were. He knew it too. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch.
That's awesome.
I'm like, he was probably so pissed when he saw it too. He's like, give me that. That's mine.
That's like a thing. Like, I don't know, my 4-year-old, the sharing thing. That's like the biggest thing with trying to get him into like a preschool or something right now. It's hard because like the one he was signed up for got canceled or whatever, and he was like pumped to go. It was the Triangle School on 305.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So now every time he drives past, they're like, "Oh, when can I go to school?" And we're like, "What do you tell him?" Because he don't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it's just that was like the main thing I wanted him to go for was like, because he's good with his ABCs and his 1, 2, 3s. You know what I mean? He does that. But I want him socially interacting with other kids and sharing and stuff like that.
It's good that you understand that too, because
that is
a
very
lot of
important.
parents don't get
dude,
that. Like,
like
I want my kids to be able to write their name and they're 3. I'm like, dude, that doesn't matter.
No, that's what I mean. He's got his own life to learn.
Yeah.
You know,
They'll figure that out.
how to conjugate a vowel or whatever. However you word it, that just
sounded
you know
good.
what I
That
mean?
sounded amazing. I knew exactly what you meant.
It's something. I don't know.
Exactly. But yeah, it's the social aspect of everything. That's the most important thing.
That's it, man. And then like the masks and just staring at screens. It's just like my goal as a father is to try to keep my kids away from screens as much as possible. That's the way I look at it. Like, I've been trying. I shouldn't say that as like my goal, but you know what I mean. Like I try
to limit it.
Because I can see, like, with my daughter with the tablet or my kid with a video game, it's a very easy babysitter.
Sure.
And
It's so easy to do it, man.
that's what I mean.
You're
And I mean,
exhausted.
for like 10, 15 minutes or whatever, even a half hour if you got to take care of something, it is what it is. But just, you can't do that all day.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
No, you're right. I mean, I know from my perspective, there was like maybe like 10 years ago in the childcare industry, everyone had TVs in their classrooms, and it was like, hey, we can use this thing called YouTube, and it's got and it was great. Like everyone was looking at it as a good tool to supplement lesson plans and things like that.
Yeah.
And very quickly, I was like, we need to get these fucking TVs out of here.
Yeah.
Because guess what they're doing when they go home?
looking at TVs.
So like
Yeah,
all
that's true. And they're like, we do it at school.
yeah, and so we don't have our school age programs have TVs on there in there for like rainy days and summer camp and shit like that. We'll do movies, movie day or something like that. But like our preschool rooms and stuff like that, they don't. And I get used. Well, when parents were allowed to go into the centers, we would get questions like when we tour people, like, well, where do they do their like they're learning stuff on the TV, and we're like, well, we don't do TVs. Like, we have tablets in the room that we can like play music on or something like that. You
probably do TVs at home, so
so we'll save that for home.
Do that? And we're like, that's what you pay us for.
Yeah,
that's why
exactly.
we're here.
That's why you want to come here. Exactly.
You know what you should do is get the old school. Remember the cart?
I was just gonna
Get the cart, man, with the strap on it. Yeah, you have like the ratchet strap around the top. You just wheel that in, and when that thing wheeled in,
that feeling,
it was like, what, dude? It's movie time, dude. You were so pumped.
The best is you walk into your room and like there's no teacher there. And you're like, oh shit, do we have a sub today?
Yeah.
And then the sub is
Rolls
wheeling
in.
that
Like,
thing
yes,
in
here we
and
go.
we're like, best day ever.
Do you guys remember when in like elementary school when they started wheeling in?
The overheads?
No, we had the laser disc.
Oh yeah,
It was like a freaking big DVD looking thing. It was like this big.
It was like a
huge
old school
record.
Yes.
God, I'm like, this is amazing. Yeah.
I was I just seen an Oregon Trail meme or whatever when you guys remember the
Oh,
Oregon
yeah.
Trail game?
That's what we
playing at
posted the other
computer,
day,
like,
actually.
dying of malaria or whatever.
Yeah.
we just posted.
Yeah,
one.
Maybe you guys.
Yeah.
It was Terry.
Yeah. For
dysentery.
you died from dysentery.
That is it.
That game was impossible.
Oh yeah,
I beat
always
it.
died.
Yeah, well, we all got there, but dude.
Well, and then you'd like shoot too much meat
Oh,
or whatever
yeah.
when you'd spin around in the circle and shoot the buffalo.
Lab day, man. You go down to the computer lab, man, and
shit
just like
was
that and
math,
fucking number munchers.
Number munchers. That was
and
a shit.
And then the Minesweeper game, which I never figued out how to play.
I used to love.
I was
Minesweeper.
actually really good at Minesweeper.
Minesweeper was fun, man. Yeah, just
You know where I got good at Minesweeper? So when I was in my my school in the Marine Corps, like we had this time and we had to write papers and shit like that, and I was fucking dumb.
Yeah, just grab a computer. And
Like,
he's
so
"There's
I
some
would get on the
games in here."
computer and be like, and you would go and it was like, there was multiple classes that went into like this computer lab basically. And so people would like write little messages as their username for their high scores, and they'd be like, "Fuck you, Lewis," or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, shit, I got to beat the score now. And so like
your whole time.
you have like 2 hours to write this, paper or whatever, and I'd use an hour and a half of it just to beat that freaking score.
Son of a bitch, you called me out.
Luckily, I passed school.
Yeah, you're all right. You did it. You did it, man. You figured it out.
That's great.
Oh God, man. Yeah, computer games are a little bit different now.
But that's the whole thing. Like with that, like I can't even fathom being a 5-year-old with access to YouTube. Like it's got to be intense and cool as shit for them. Like I mean,
It's unlimited.
It's just literally everything.
Unlimited.
We had nothing that even relates to that.
Think about when you were little and how special like a Friday night rolled around and you hit a Blockbuster. You get a pizza, you get Blockbuster. Yep. Now you have every single movie possible at your fingertips at all times.
It's almost unfair. Like
it's almost like you don't even appreciate it because you have all these things to watch. So like think about it like this, like as an adult flipping through like Netflix and you're like scrolling through, you're like, oh, that's a good movie. But I'm gonna see what else I can watch. And you keep scrolling, and the next thing you know, an hour and a half goes by, you don't end up watching anything.
Do you know what I had to do as a 13-year-old looking for like to see some titties?
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh, you're messing with the cable box
Yeah,
in the back?
Oh, there he goes. I see something. You're like hanging out at a buddy's house. It's like 2 in the morning.
You gotta hit it just right so that the pink lines and the screen
Yeah,
are just right. Like, that was definitely a boob.
Go back to the left there.
Or the one friend who had Cinemax
Oh,
and
yeah.
sleep at his house.
Oh yeah,
Our buddy
always sleep
Drew had that box.
Spice Channel.
Yeah,
on the
he had that box that he like stole or something, dude.
Or you talk the kid into renting it on pay-per-view, like, no, your parents will never
No,
find it.
it's fine, dude. It's fine.
You're good.
Oh my God! But now, yeah, unlimited access to anything you want. Jesus
Dude, Drew
Christ.
had all the shit too. Remember he would go to Blockbuster and rent PlayStation games,
Yeah.
and then he had the computer that could copy the games.
Really?
So like we would go. I remember going. We got
was
like
unreal.
Twisted Metal and something else.
That game was the best, man. Twisted Metal 2 was the best ever, man.
And like we would just sit there, and it would take like 16 hours to copy. You know
but
what I mean?
this
Like
is
I had to
awesome.
read it and then copy it.
You're
But
like, I can't
then,
believe how fast this is copying this. This is amazing.
then I remember though that it was one-time play. Like you would like the disc would work the first time, but if you took it out, it
it's
wouldn't
over.
read again.
Yeah, it's over.
And so like we would buy these like I don't know 100 packs of CDRs, and like once it was done, it was done.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's so funny,
But
man.
we honestly at work, we're talking about like, my kids will never know what a Blockbuster is. You
No.
know? I remember like the one on Vine Street right here. Like they had like a big WWF section.
Yeah.
And I like would go every Friday, rent like a different pay-per-view, and I try to get them like order. I'd stand and read what dates the dates were and stuff.
This is the best, man.
So it's interesting though, like, because you're right. Like these kids will never appreciate what we did, and that's kind of get off my lawn of us to say
Yeah, it
that.
is. I mean,
know.
everybody had
But do
before
this
us had to deal
test
with
though,
shit.
because I do this with my kids all the time. Because you're right. I'll sit there. I'm like, oh, what do you want to watch? And I'll start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and it takes 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And you pick something, and you're like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask your kid what they want to watch. They know right away.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Because it's not, they don't know any better. Like, oh, well, I want to watch this. You
It's
know
true,
what I mean?
though.
Like, there's no questioning. Like, but think about it. Like at Blockbuster, we did the same thing. I used to spend hours in there.
Well, that was
Like,
just
all
it.
right, it's time to go.
Or you'd
pick
go
something.
in there and you knew there was a movie that you wanted to watch. And
And
this
they
one
were
just
all
came
out.
out and you get there and there's no worse feeling than grabbing that box.
'Cause
And there's
the box
nothing
is
behind
there.
it. And there's nothing behind it. You're like, no.
Susie's gonna have that back on Monday if you want to come back in.
Yeah, just wait a little while. You hear like
yeah.
the tape drop in the front. You're like, is that it? You're like, no, sorry. Damn it.
Is there any that aren't rewound yet? You know?
Well, I'll rewind it. I don't care.
You're sitting there waiting for somebody to drop it off.
Think about that, dude. You get it. You get the VHS home, and you have to sit, and it's not rewound.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Did you guys have the quick
Be kind,
rewinder
rewind.
though?
No, we never did.
Oh,
I had one.
it was the best.
Yeah.
Just drop it in there.
I feel like my grandma had one, maybe.
Oh, so great.
It was like right next to the automatic card shuffler.
Yeah.
I think that was in everybody's.
That was the
yeah,
best, man. I
yeah,
used to
for
do it for the hell of
And
it.
the bronze shoes.
The bronze shoes.
Remember the bronze
Oh my
shoes?
god.
yeah.
Why don't they do that
And we had the.
That would be so amazing.
I don't know. Why don't they do that?
Let's bring that back. I'm gonna
We
bronze
should,
my
man.
kids'
Did your chair drop?
What's it?
Did your chair drop? Oh, I thought you like went lower.
No.
Oh, yeah, these chairs, like.
So if you hit it with your calf,
they'll hit
you'll
you.
just drop down on the
Jeez,
floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of keep account usually.
Ian's got one already.
Yeah, it happened once.
God, man, the bronze shoes. I do remember going to like people's houses and they always had those, man.
I think they did it for the first two. I'm the youngest of three boys or whatever. I don't know if my shoes were ever bronze.
No, you're third. You're the third child. That's the third too.
We're done with that shit.
Nobody cares about the third born, man. I'm right there with you. It's like, yeah, you do whatever you want, where you don't care anymore.
But the crazy thing is like the amount of pictures from your first kid to your second kid. Like, dude, I have so many pictures of my daughter, and I mean, I still have a lot.
Oh yeah,
we have the access with the phone,
exactly,
24/7. But I imagine it's definitely a decline.
Oh, for sure.
With everything though, I mean, just the worrying, the care, yeah, whatever. They're probably fine. We know he'll be okay. Exactly. You know, the first one you're just terrified of everything. It's the first. Everything they do is the first time you've ever seen it. Like, it's just like, we got to record this. We got to take a picture of it. And then like the second one, like, yeah, he's fine. He'll figure it out.
Well, it's weird because like when I don't think it's more. I think it's more about us than it is about the kid because like you're terrified with your first one. Like, what the hell? I don't know what I'm doing.
This is a pretty big responsibility.
And like or like this is a really big responsibility. This seems like a moment that we definitely have to capture.
Yeah.
And then your second one does, and you're like, oh, well, they'll do it again. Like, we'll get it, and then you just never do. And you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's weird. Like you said, you know, you have your phone on you all the time, and you can catalog those pictures and stuff like that. We were just talking about. Was it last night? I don't know. We were talking about like the difference between photo albums and your phone.
Yeah.
Like, and I always wonder, like my parents had photo books that we would sit there and flip through.
My grandma had at the years, like 1989. Here's the greatest hits of 1989.
Yeah.
It'd be pictures of all of us, our school pictures, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, because at my dad's house, he had the same thing. He had all of the photo albums and the same thing, the year, and he had them all like, in order. I remember sitting down and checking them out all the time. I don't know. I thought it was great.
We used to do the same thing when we go to grandma's. That was the thing. Look at the pictures or whatever. Fun. And I think it'd be like the same. Like it doesn't have the same effect scrolling through as it does looking at.
It's just so simple, and it's always like there.
Reading a newspaper or something is cooler than reading the newspaper off your phone.
Right. Well, it's overwhelming too because in that photo album, you had one picture of that event.
Yeah.
Or you know, maybe three of, but they were different times. Now you scroll through your phone, you got 37 of this same exact picture just because the smile wasn't right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because like my daughter don't look at the thing, so I got to take 37 of them and then go through and go. And then
you don't delete them.
No. So I just have
like, well, I don't have any storage on my phone. You're scrolling like, oh shit.
Google's sending me notifications like, hey, asshole, just do something.
I got 900 selfies of my kid when he learned how to take a picture. I'm like,
God, I always love that too.
His cheek.
Yeah. Well, the one day I found out like 37 pictures of like random stuff in the house. I'm like, who took all these pictures? And the last one was a picture, like he flipped the camera around and there's a picture of his face like, looking at the phone. I'm like, you bastard. Got you.
To cover his tracks.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, man. It'd been amazing if he deleted it. So,
oh man,
that's so great.
Yeah, man, this is like all the technology stuff. It's crazy, and I do think that our age group is unique in that we had these crazy advances while we were growing up. Like we were like 10 years old when computers started becoming like legit, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they were out, but like not everyone had one, you know.
Because you had
now everyone's got a fucking computer.
You played
in
Oregon Trail on it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had two things that you did on those computers when we were in elementary school, and then you get to junior high, and I remember they got the Macs.
Oh yeah, those the colorful ones.
Yeah. With the whole computer lab, like, oh, these are amazing. They're like spaceships.
Yeah. And they still did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was nothing special, right? And then like
had to learn how to use this.
But they just kept getting more and more ridiculous. I remember my dad's first laptop. It had the mouse, like the little
trackpad.
No, it had like the little ball, the little button ball.
Yeah.
Like a BlackBerry.
Yeah. I remember just like, this is the most amazing thing in the world. Like he would like, I remember him showing us this video. You guys probably remember. It was like we were like, I don't know, in like junior high. It was that dancing baby, like that 3D baby had like a diaper on. He was dancing. I forget what song it was.
Like Chumbawamba.
No, I don't remember what the hell it was.
Was that like this album cover?
I think it might have been.
The Chumbawamba.
We will have to look that up. But I still remember that video and be like, this is amazing. It's like 3D. Yeah. I'm like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And you look at that now, it's like, that's crap. I know.
Yeah.
Or video games. Remember we talked about playing like Madden or something, or like an old video game, and your dad comes on and he's like, oh, game's on tonight. Like,
I will never forget Christmas '96. We got a Nintendo 64. Me and my brother did. Like, and that was the year it came out. My grandpa like drove down to Columbus to find this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we were like the kid in that commercial that you see every Christmas when it comes out.
Shit.
You know. And
it's true though.
I remember we were downstairs on our 36-inch like tube TV that weighed 900 pounds, and me and him are playing a game of Madden 64. And my dad comes downstairs. He goes, "There's football on already?"
Yeah.
Like,
It's amazing.
dude. It did not look that real.
No. Dude, I
He
remember
was dead fucking serious.
Dude, Nintendo 64, that was the GoldenEye.
Yeah, oh
was
yeah.
the shit.
Oh yeah,
And
Mario
then,
Kart.
have you
64.
guys played GoldenEye in the last, I don't know, 10 years?
No.
Yeah,
We tried it somewhere, and it was the worst
I
experience.
can only imagine.
because you
so
can't
bad.
figure out how to do the controls.
Well-
because you have the one joystick.
Yeah.
Because you're used to having two now, and it's
Yeah.
just the directional pad.
my-
Everything's impossible.
No,
My
had two
fingers have
joysticks.
gotten
I had the
only
one in the
fatter.
middle.
No,
It had one in the middle, one in the left.
no, it had a
No,
D-pad on
it had
the left.
D-pad, and then
Oh,
it had
you're right.
in the
You're
middle
right.
was the
Yeah, you're
joystick.
right.
So
All
like,
right.
You have to like switch.
Yeah.
it was
The
pretty difficult.
majority of
But
the
you
stuff
figured it
was-
out.
yeah.
But when you
Yeah.
go back to it and try to play, you're like, this is the worst game in the world.
Oh, yeah, it was
but
terrible.
it was amazing though. At the time, man.
I was like hosting Christmas 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and like my nieces and nephews were coming, and I was gonna like, I went and bought a Nintendo 64 because I'm like, that's what I had.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
like, dude, Mario Kart's gonna
Yeah.
roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It ended up like Mario Kart was like $100
Yeah.
or some
Yeah, you're
shit.
like,
It's
well,
like
this
some
backfired.
nostalgic- I was like, I'm gonna go buy Super Smash Brothers, and that was like $200.
That's really
or something.
expensive,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like ridiculous. So anyway, I get Mario Kart. I'm like hyped up and shit. It won't connect. The 64
To the
won't
TV.
connect to the new TVs. So like we couldn't even play. It was just a fucking
All that
disaster.
money, man,
Yeah.
too. You're like,
I ended up taking it back because I'm
Yeah.
like, this thing's just gonna sit
Yep.
here.
I
I'm
bought
not
an
gonna use it.
adapter
Yeah.
because the same thing. I found my 64 in like my parents' garage or something like that,
And it won't
like,
hook to the-
and it wouldn't hook up. But I was able on Amazon. I got an adapter. It was like $50, and I was like, dude,
that's what
That's
sucks
a
though,
lot
because
to
you
sink in.
figure it's so old. You're like, this is all gonna be so cheap.
right?
Yeah.
It's not.
But
No.
those games, they kind of like we downloaded. I got the
Emulator
where it's got-
thing?
Yeah, where it's
Yeah.
got all the different
Oh,
games
yeah.
or whatever, and it's like they're cool for like 5 minutes. Like even
They are.
Paperboy, you're like, all right, I'm on Tuesday.
Paperboy was
It's like
awesome.
I'm
You're
cool.
right though, because I still remember getting for PlayStation 3. I got the it's like the old Sega games.
Classics. Yeah.
It's all the Sega games. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm gonna play all these, and same thing. I'm like, I used to play these for days. Like this was like the most amazing game ever. And I started playing for a little bit. I'm like, boring.
Yeah.
Like it's like you get over it pretty quick. And
Well, and I actually just got the Nintendo because my kid's like obsessed with Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some other system that it was on. He loved the Sonic, so I got the Sega, the little mini Sega.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
got like 40 downloaded
Yeah.
games on it. And it literally came to my house. I set it up for him yesterday. I like surprised him with it yesterday. But same thing. It's got all the different games on it. Like I was playing Streets of Rage. I don't know
Oh,
if you
yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
that.
dude. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
And it's cool, but it's like, all right,
Yeah,
I've
you're not
had
gonna-
enough.
yeah.
exactly.
I'm not gonna devote a Sunday to this. or
exactly. 'Cause you're like, you know what else you can be playing too. You're like, yeah.
And that's just like I don't know if it's dad instinct or what. Like whenever I'm doing something not productive like that, playing video games or something selfish or whatever, it's like I should be doing something
Exactly.
different. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's good though. That's a.
It's good that you recognize that
Well,
too.
I mean, look, we go from high school to whatever you do after high school, whether it's military or college or you go to work right away, whatever it is that you're doing, like you quickly or not quickly, you have this like gradual balance because you don't have any other responsibility. Yes. So you get maybe you're working an 8-hour day or 10-hour day, whatever it is. And you get home, and now it's just you. So you crack a couple beers, and
Whatever the hell you wanna
play
do.
video games till fucking 4 o'clock in the morning. You can function on 3 hours of sleep and whatever.
I answer to no one.
Right.
Yeah,
I answer to no
exactly.
one.
You have nothing to do.
And then, like, all of a sudden, you start getting some bills. And then, okay, well, I got to be a little bit more responsible. You have a kid, and, like, it shit stops.
Dude, it's
you know what I
times
mean?
10.
Like, you
It
can't.
stops
That's the
fast.
big one for us. And, like, I noticed. I mean, we used to play all the time. But you just can't do it anymore.
can't.
It's like grown ass man shit now. You got to take care of, and it's. Yeah, obviously, we wouldn't change it for anything in the world, but it's freaking tough sometimes.
It is. I mean, because not to mention, like, you don't have time to do the stuff around the house that you want to do. So then, like, okay, finally, I got the kids to bed. I could just sit around and fuck off for a little while, or I could go and do what I have to do. Finally, I have to go clean now, and like, the kids are back in school, so now I'm like, okay, I have to make lunches, and I have to do this shit. It's like, I don't have time. Like, and then that's like 2 hours you have to go and get something done.
Yeah.
Because you want to go to bed at a decent hour.
Well, it's like we have a mass text or whatever with guys that we used to play Call of Duty with.
yeah.
And like
Hop on every now and then, but
I
it's
got
like,
on like last week sometime.
Yeah, it was after a
like an
podcast.
hour. Yeah, it was after a podcast. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. I was like, yeah, let me do it. You know,
Yeah, and then it's like, ugh.
it was the first time in months. You know, I'm like, and I always feel bad, but like,
You're
you
tired.
prioritize.
Well, that's why like I love fantasy football because it's honestly, if it wasn't for fantasy football, there'd be like a bunch of high school kids and like people I grew up with and was really close with that I really wouldn't communicate with. You get what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
like
no,
our
it keeps you
way
kind of with
in check with each other, whatever's going on.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah.
With group messages
Right.
and whatever, like some rekindle the friendship. And it's not like I wouldn't love to
not for
hang
lack
out.
of wanting to,
It's
right.
just like
Just
you
put
don't have time to
And
do
then
that.
everybody's on the same page too, and you always feel bad. You're like, I don't talk to this person enough. I don't do enough to like stay in contact with them. But it's like they're going through the same thing.
Yep.
And a lot of people, like, it's your good friend. It's like when you finally get to hang out with them, it's just like all comes right back. Everything's just
oh yeah,
right where you left off. you know?
Yeah,
it
for
is
sure.
that.
And you get like
always,
that once in a blue moon where you all get to hang out or something too.
right. And you get fantasy football, whether it's fantasy football or like we did this with the podcast.
Yeah, we
You
get to
know
hang
what I
out
mean?
all the time because of this.
We did, like one of the cool things about it is we make sure that we get to hang out. You know?
And the wives are like, well, I guess it's for the podcast, so I guess you have to do it. And they seem to support us. I mean, it's been almost 2 years now, so or it will be in February, right?
Yeah, it's been a year and a half.
So it's like they're still all about it, so we're good. We get to come hang out.
The wife thing is what makes it. If you got somebody that's on the same page as you, because like I did like union construction work for years, road work and stuff like that, and I just was with different companies and bounced around a lot of crews and stuff. And some of the like home lives is just chaos.
Yeah.
And it just like I'm not judging anybody because I know everybody battles and deals with their own things. But if anything, that just makes me more grateful for what I got at home.
Yeah.
Because I hear the stuff that they deal with, and I'm like, man, I could not imagine my wife treating me like that.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
it's
You
just
hear
like
those stories.
the way like we parent together and everything's like connected.
That's amazing too.
And
Yeah,
it's just like it wouldn't be possible without stuff like that.
for sure.
It's 100% true. I mean, you want to be a good dad, like be a good husband.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And same thing for moms. Like you want to be a good mom, be a good wife. Like hang out with each other, understand what's going on, be on the same page. Don't bicker about shit that doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And guess what? Like everything becomes a hell of a lot easier. And that doesn't mean you get what you want all the time.
No, absolutely not.
But it's give and take, right?
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah. You compromise. I mean, you do what you have to do, and all the small shit that like you're missing out on, or you think you're missing out on. It's all petty shit. It doesn't really matter.
No.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yep. And
So-
it's just the whole teamwork thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like that stuff that you think you're missing out on stuff. I have a hard time with like I always want to work because my job, right? I'm cement finisher. I work with a bunch of different. I kind of like sub myself out.
Okay.
And there's a lot of work. You know what I mean? So it's always I kind of got to get greedy or want to work always or something. But you got to like check yourself because like my kid's only 4 one time.
right.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
And then like perfect example, I had my daughter's first day of school. I could have went to work, you know what I mean? But instead I kind of can make my own hours or whatever, turn down a job or what have you. And instead I stayed home that day and got to see her off into school. She was super pumped. And then we took my kid fishing. And me, my father-in-law, and my wife, he caught 3 fish.
Nice.
It's like, that's the type of shit I'm
That's
going to
awesome.
remember the rest of my life.
Right.
Absolutely.
You think that few $100s or whatever is going to mean anything. You know what I mean? Like
You'll make it up, man. You'll figure it out.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we got to take care of business and make money, whatever. But there's a bigger thing in life. You know
Absolutely.
What I mean?
And we talked about this before, and it's like this little window, like you said, they're only gonna be 4 once.
Yes.
And that time is like that, right? I mean, you think about your daughter. You said your daughter's 6.
6, yeah.
Okay, 6 and 4. So, I mean, you probably, it seems like yesterday they were born, right? And you're
Insane.
like, and it's like, oh, this is taking forever. They're these helpless babies that you can't control. Like there's nothing you could do to make them happy. And you're like, this is just so tough. And it's like, next thing you know, they're 6 years old. It's like in 2 seconds, like it flies by.
Well, and then like I always remember like when we first had my daughter, she was a baby and she was a good baby, like didn't cry or anything like that. So I'm like, this shit is pretty easy. And then like once they start moving and your whole thing is like, I got to make sure this kid doesn't die.
Yeah,
you know
'cause,
what
I mean, they're into
Then
everything.
it's like work.
It is, man, because it's exhausting. Because they're all over
There's
everything.
that-
They're climbing on stuff. It's like, holy shit.
I always try and tell new dads, like, there's this window of like, I'm trying to remember. It's like close to 2 years to like 2.5 years. Like there's that 6 month window, and maybe it's not even 6 months. Maybe it's like 3 months where you can leave the room without having to worry that they're going to die.
Yeah.
Like you can set them up on the play mat because they can't really go anywhere yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, but that only lasts until they're really moving around. Then you're like, fuck, I got to follow them everywhere.
Yep.
Like
You're just following them around.
And
it's
you
exhausting.
never shit with the door closed ever again.
No, never.
It's a free
No,
for all.
it really is, man. If you do try to shit with the door closed, they're at the
barging
door
in.
anyway. Yeah.
Dude, I've gotten boxes of cereal thrown on my lap. Like, dude, I want this when you're done taking care
I'm like,
of whatever
yeah,
you're
my
doing.
kid will not pay attention to me for like 2 hours, and I'm like, I'm gonna go take a dump real
Yeah.
quick. He's like, hey, Dad, I gotta show you something. I'm like, why now? I'm like, I just got in here. Give me a minute, dude. I'm like, come on.
so my boy has a Nintendo Switch. You know, we were talking about that. And so he's like it's kind of weird going back to like the old school games or whatever. So on the Switch, you can subscribe to the online thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like $4 a month and you get all the old school games. Nice. And so like I got him started out on like the original Marios and stuff like that. And so he's playing Mario Brothers 3 and he's like, I got in, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I got home. Like I picked my daughter up. My wife already had my son home. And he's like, hey, I want the frog suit. How do I get the frog suit? I'm like, oh, dude, it's in World 3.
Man.
Like, I'll get you there. Hey, I got to run to the bathroom real quick, and I'll be right there. I mean, I wasn't on the freaking can, and all of a sudden the door's open. He's got the Switch, like, leaning up against me. I'm like, dude,
Give me
give
a
me
minute.
5 minutes. Like, that's all I'm asking
Yeah.
for. He's like, well, it's right here. How do you do? I'm like, get out of here.
Dude, just give me a minute. The other day, I went to
And watch that
my
fucking Switch.
yeah, clean that thing.
Yeah, this isn't even COVID related.
No, this
This
is a lot of stuff going on in here, man. Get the hell out. The other day, I went to my mom's house, and I got there, and I'm like, I have to piss, like now. So I go straight into the bathroom. Sam he kicks the door open, and he just pulls his pants down and starts peeing next to me. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why do you? I'm like, I asked you when we got here. I'm like, you have to go to the bathroom. He's like, no, I'm good.
Dude, the classic.
And he's just like, he comes in there and starts peeing. I'm like, we're playing swords now. Like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, get the hell out of here.
You can only do that camping.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
It doesn't happen. I'm like, go to the other bathroom. Leave me alone.
We'll do we keep a potty in the car because my son is the typical like. And then when we go pick my daughter up from school, he says he's got to go to the bathroom because he wants to go in the school. And now that's definitely not
Right,
cool.
now it's not
happening, yeah.
Definitely not. So we keep, go right there then, man.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
a good
I've used it 3 times, and I almost filled it up to one.
Dad had. You've used it 3 times.
That's amazing.
It's came in handy.
Seriously though, man. So every day at work, I try to drink a gallon of water every day. And I have this, I get the jug of water.
Yeah.
And then one day I pick up my son and we're going to the park after school. And I had like this much left. And he's like, I got to pee. I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm like, there's too many people around. I'm like, you're not going outside. The public bathroom's closed.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, I'm just use this. I'm like, just piss in this thing. He's sure enough, it's in the back of the car, took it and peed in it. We're good to go, man.
You're good with
How old?
boys.
He's 4.
4, I say just pee.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain stipulation.
So that's
up to
why I said too,
6.
because like the whole thing too, like during the whole COVID thing, like it was, you would go to a park and the bathrooms aren't open.
Yeah,
My son got
right.
so used to peeing outside. He wants to pee outside all the time. We'll be in the backyard playing. He'll just stop in the middle of the yard and pee.
Exactly.
I'm like, buddy, we're at our house. Go inside. He's like, I'm just watering. He tells me he's watering the flowers. I'm like, dude,
Well,
you're
like,
killing my flowers. Go inside the house.
Well, like swimming, when they're swimming, he'll just get out. When we're at Grandpa's house, it's not really that big of a deal. But when we go to random aunts or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
random pool parties, you can't just whip the little guy out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
right.
So you know what I told my son though? Like we were at the beach. Well, it seems like last week, but it's probably been like a month ago now. He comes running out of the water. He's like, I gotta pee. I'm like, well, you're not peeing here. I'm like, listen to me. Just pee in your shorts right now. He's like, what? I'm like, don't even pull your pants down. I'm like, just start peeing. And then walk back into the water. No one will have a clue. He's like, okay.
Yep.
He's like, he goes, this is weird. I'm like, just do it, man. Just do it. This lady's staring at me. I'm like, shut up.
Kind of warm.
Dude, I
He's
think I
right
talked
back in the
about this
lake.
the
I'm like,
other
it's
day.
the lake.
Yeah,
Who
it's the
cares? Or
lake.
even if
Yeah,
it's a
there's
pool, it's got chlorine.
Yeah. Chlorine trumps
Yeah.
urine every time.
Weird though, like whenever my kids go swimming, both of them, they get out like I got to go potty.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's so strange to me. Like they will like argue about having to go to the bathroom all the time and take every opportunity. I mean, this was even like when they were potty training.
Yeah.
They would, have accidents and shit like that. But you put them in a pool and they're like, oh, I got to go. I got to get out. I'm like, really? I just got comfortable.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just fucking go, man.
Just go.
Well, that's the thing.
Number
though.
one or number two?
Yeah,
That's
number two.
That's a good
Take
question.
it easy, yeah.
We had a number 2 incident, and we spent like Christmas in Florida a couple years ago, and at my father-in-law had a little place down there or whatever, and we had a number 2 incident, and it shut the pool down for the day. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it happens,
It's salt water.
kid,
Yeah, whatever. It cleans itself.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's so funny though. Like you said though, like I'll just pee in the pool, right? But they don't know that. But once you tell them to,
Yeah,
right,
it's gonna be a free for all.
Yeah, I can't tell them that because then they're just gonna always
Always
do
do
it,
it, man.
So,
It's like going to like Put in
you
Bay.
get
and
out,
you're
you
like,
take them to the
you're like-
bathroom.
you're like,
yeah.
Put in Bay, it's like, you know, I could go wait in that long ass line, or I'll just stand here and piss in the
Yeah.
pool.
Well, that's just it. And then if you got 2 kids, if one of them's in there, you can't just leave the kid in the pool while you take the other one to the bathroom
Exactly.
and stuff like that. So it comes in.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. Like at the
that.
beach, I was by myself, so I have both the kids, and you know, Sam's like, I gotta go pee. I'm like, we're not going to the bathroom, and I'm not gonna go hide you behind a tree because Ben's still playing in the water, and I'm like, I'm not gonna leave him
Do
there.
what you gotta do.
Dude, that's tough being at
Yeah.
the beach because you're like, because I mean, you hear shit too. People could like, it's so crowded.
Oh, yeah.
And you could lose one instantly. So I'm
yeah.
like,
You gotta be
Sam's like
vigilant.
way out there, and Ben's over there playing in the sand, and I'm sitting in between them doing this the whole time. Like it's like an hour and a half of just looking back and forth. Like I'm like, can you guys just play next to each other for just for a little bit, man?
It's good that we have that awareness. Like you gotta always keep it, because like think about when we were little. Like there wasn't like you're gonna get abducted.
No,
and stuff.
you didn't think about it.
Your parents were just like go.
Yeah.
Just do whatever the hell you want.
When the light turns
Yeah,
off or whatever,
right,
come home.
right.
That
Exactly.
shit, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
now it's just like you got to worry where are you going to be at, who's his parents, and then like
That's
Yep.
true though, man. Because I
Yep.
mean, think about like even when we were like in junior high school, I would go over to like his neighborhood, and we would just there was like 10 of us, and we would always be together. But our parents really never knew where the hell we were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they
and we
there was no
we had good
phones.
parents. You know,
Yeah,
what I
my
mean?
parents were
It
great.
was just the way.
But that was the
our
way it
kids
was.
were.
And it's like, okay, they'll be back. They know they have to come home for dinner. You know, they have to come home when the street lights come on or what have you. And like, how the hell are you going to get a hold of them? You have no idea where the hell they're at. We could be at a park. We could be
Exactly.
anywhere.
riding our bikes around, whatever.
And just hope for the best. Can you imagine that? Like, you don't see much of that. Like, we've talked about it before. Like, you don't see kids riding their bikes everywhere. Like, we were everywhere. We were
just had this
everywhere.
conversation. When's the last time you pulled down a side street and kids were playing football?
You know what? When COVID started, I remember in my neighborhood, there was a bunch of kids that were playing hockey. Like, and it was the first, I remember we talked about it on the podcast. I was like, dude, when I was leaving today, there was kids and it was like dark out already and they were getting dark at the time. And like they were still playing. They'd been out there for hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't seen that in forever. It was amazing.
You did see it a lot during the whole
And then
quarantine
it kind of
thing.
went away again.
Well,
Yeah,
like
it
I
did,
remember
quick.
the curbs were out of bounds, and then each driveway, the driveways were touchdowns and first downs.
Game
Yep.
on, game off.
Yep.
You know,
Oh,
car
yeah.
comes
Yep.
down the street.
Yep.
Game off.
Yep. Wayne's World. Yep. Game on.
That is probably the movie I've seen the most times in my
Really?
life.
I love that movie, man.
When I was like 8, 9 years old, it was the
Yeah, I mean,
funniest.
it's a fantastic
we
movie.
watched it so many times.
Love that.
That or Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy. I watched Black Sheep about a month ago, and it was still amazing.
Dude, as good as Chris Farley is in that movie, David Spade is my favorite character.
He's
in that
phenomenal.
movie. He is so fucking
That
funny.
tandem, those two together was
Oh
like the
my
best
God.
thing, man.
The things they could have done, but I just missed Spade. Like we had tickets. It was my
really?
My
Yeah,
wife bought it for for our anniversary. We were gonna go to it was at like the Roxino or whatever.
Yeah.
Right in August, and it got canceled.
Yeah.
Which, so,
That would have been
sucks,
great.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I think they like rescheduled it and got our hopes up, and then just like no,
yeah,
we're
we're
not doing
done.
this. Like, fuck. But the shit that they could have done.
Oh,
my
man, I know.
God,
Just
dude.
Farley was amazing, man.
So good.
Dude, Black Sheep is definitely underrated because it was so similar to Tommy Boy.
It was,
in a
yeah, it
way,
really
but
was.
It didn't matter.
No, it was still so
hilarious.
good,
That's
man.
how all those like especially in comedy movies. That's
Yeah,
how
the
it
sa-
all
the-
is.
yeah.
It's they make the same movie with different names.
It's a little different.
And a little like a
Yeah,
little
storyline's
bit
a
of
little bit
plot,
different, yeah.
like, but it works. Like
But
I mean,
what
Will
are-
Ferrell did it. You
But
know,
what are they supposed to do with
Right.
Chris Farley and David Spade?
Exactly.
That's what
That's
they're
what
good
works.
at. So
And it
just
worked,
get-
man, and it worked, and it was
could have
phenomenal.
worked 100
Yeah.
more times.
Yep.
I mean, how many of the same movie did Adam Sandler make? You know, what I
Exactly.
mean?
I
He's
still
still,
laugh
you know,
at
and
that.
he
He's
still
got a
does it.
Halloween movie
They're
coming
just
out on
different now.
Netflix. I
Yeah.
saw.
But he
And I'll
does
probably watch it.
I will for
100%.
sure. I saw the preview for it. I'm like, I'm watching that. 100%.
something.
Exactly. It is something to get excited about.
Like, fuck Netflix. Every time I fall for it, we'll be like, yeah, let's watch something. Well, nothing's on. And then I'll just search through Netflix, and it's like, it's the same shit. Like,
It
I
is,
don't
man.
want to watch any of this.
Well, that's the same reason why I got rid of HBO. all the movies are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. They change them like once every few months, but it's like I'm like, oh, let's see what's on HBO. Yeah. Same movie. It's like, okay, I'm not.
If I was paying for Netflix, I've used my dad's.
Yeah. So I pay for my Netflix. So my mom uses my Netflix and like for the kids, like the Disney Plus and all that.
Yeah.
But I use her YouTube TV.
Oh, nice.
Because she has that. I'm like, that's
a good swap.
Piggyback off that.
It's a good swap.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We do. That's like the Spotify. Like I was paying like $10 a month for Spotify, and then for 15 a month, like I got to add like 6 of my family members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like shit like that. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, that's what we do.
It really
for
is,
Apple
man.
Music.
Just share it all, man. It's like it's amazing that you could do that.
Well, that's
like,
what family's supposed to do. You take this, I'll give you this.
exactly. It's just give
Well,
and
they were
take.
smart to do that too because people were doing it anyway.
Yeah, you could just
And
log
so
into
now
mine.
you're paying a couple extra
yeah.
bucks, but you feel good about it because you're splitting it between 6 people.
Exactly.
And so like we do that with Apple Music. Like we got 6 people on it, and like we can use it.
Well, and then I like my uncle invited me on his plan, and like I got strung out on Spotify because I'm like, this is awesome, anything. And then he like canceled out of the blue, and then all of a sudden like, oh shit, I guess I
it's
gotta-
gone.
That's true.
It's gone.
Once
Damn
you
it.
get it,
Yeah,
like
put my
all
big
right,
boy
this is
pants
something
on.
It's like, I gotta get it.
$10 over this
$9.99. Damn it!
Kids are getting the off-brand diapers this month.
I gotta get Spotify.
But it's crazy though. Like think about how much money we used to spend on like CDs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we didn't think twice. Like, oh shit! What was it? Tuesdays, I think that new
Tuesdays
CDs
at
used to
Best
drop.
Buy was,
Yeah,
like,
and
bumping.
you used to go and you'd be like, all right, I'm getting this, and this, and you'd be dropping like $60 on 3 freaking albums.
And you're like, you know what? I have to get this album because this one song.
Right, right.
And the rest of the album sucks.
And by the way,
Right?
And by the way, 10 of your friends were also buying the same exact.
We all go out and buy the
copy.
same. Yeah, we were like, oh, let's go. Let's all go, man.
But now, when we actually make money, spending $10 a month on unlimited music is
exactly.
like, what am I
Unlimited.
paying for this for?
Bullshit. I got in a fight with Alexa the other day because I told her to play a song and she's like, well, you have to pay extra a month. I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, I literally screamed at her. I'm like, I have to pay extra. I'm like, I pay $150 a year for Prime. Are you ever asking me for more money? Fuck you. Then I muted her for a day. I unplugged her one time. I was so pissed. I'm like, fuck you, Alexa.
You know why? We're kind of the problem there. So Amazon started doing podcasts and stuff like that. Now they're charging for the extra Amazon
We're
Music
part of the
stuff.
problem.
We're part of the problem.
Be part of the solution.
We fucked up, man. We're the bad guys. Welcome to the
Being
show.
into the man. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on tonight.
All right, let's end it here.
Yeah, that's the show.
That's it.
Oh man, yeah, no, all that stuff's crazy. I do music, movies, all that kind of stuff. The kids aren't gonna understand like commercials.
Yeah.
You ever watch something like?
Dude,
I mean, we don't
you
really
put on,
have.
you put on live TV, and
Yeah.
they're like, what the hell is this? I'm like, these are called commercials.
Yeah.
And then, or if an ad pops up on YouTube, they're sitting there going,
Yeah.
they're,
Oh, yeah.
they're waiting for the button to come up, like,
Literally.
skip ad. They're waiting for the skip ad to come
I
up.
can't stand this 5 seconds.
They're gonna wait
of
5
advertising.
seconds.
You're like, are you kidding me? This is absurd.
Like, dude, we used to watch the fucking preview channel
Yeah.
for 37 minutes because you missed it.
Yeah, you
every
missed it. You're
time
like, I got to
went
start
through.
over, I guess.
I don't know what
It was
Channel 13, man.
Channel 13, yeah.
The
You know
blue bars that came.
Yep. And it's so slow. You're like, oh my God. And they show the same commercial up in the top right corner like 30 times. You're like, ugh.
That's the best.
You know what the thing is, though? Like, I could still remember the channels. Nickelodeon was 47.
47, yep.
Nick at Night was, or whatever it was,
Comedy
46.
Central was
Comedy Central
56.
56.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network was 57.
57.
That's amazing.
MTV was 43.
Yep.
Yeah.
HBO was 15.
15, Cinemax
Cinemax
17,
17.
Showtime was 2.
So
Fox was
amazing.
8.
Dude, oh my God.
That's amazing.
It's so true, though. We all remember that, right? Like, you knew exactly what channel you were going
I've
to.
had Spectrum. I was just talking about this. I've had Spectrum for like a year, and I still don't know what channel. Like, I want to watch American Dad. How do I make that
Right,
happen?
but you don't-
And then
you
I'm
don't
like,
need to.
I know it's in the 40s, so I just type 40 and hit up until I.
Yeah,
get
until
it.
you find it. But you used to know those because you had a few channels. You didn't have you didn't have 1,000 channels.
Right, but you don't need to now because you can just hit the button when you find it. Like you don't need
Yeah.
to pay attention to the numbers. It's the same thing with like my wife always yells at me. I like completely dumped phone numbers out of my memory.
Oh, yeah, that's
because I just don't need them.
No, you don't need them.
Right,
I got
you
like
just hit the
4.
button.
Remember memorizing
Yeah.
your friend's house phone
We
numbers?
knew
And I knew everybody's number.
50 fucking numbers.
Yeah.
Dude, I know this would make for interesting radio, but I could literally rattle off like my 10 best friends fucking.
Really?
phone
Oh, yeah,
numbers
house
from high
numbers?
school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Yeah.
literally, that shit's embedded in my head.
It
I
was.
remember yours and maybe like
I remember Witterman's, Perry's, yours, and somebody else.
I think I know
Arco.
Raj's. Oh yeah. I
I remember
don't even know if
Raj
I
used
can
to.
do everyone, but like
We didn't have to remember area codes then because everybody.
that's true.
Exactly, you didn't have to, man.
Eliminated
I remember when
three
that
of them.
happened. I was like, "What is? What do I type these extra 3 numbers for? This is absurd." The house phone, you're sitting there like trying to talk to a friend, like the long ass cord you like wrap around. I would like go hide in like the laundry room because it was like right around the corner. It's like hiding
And
there.
then the
Like, hey, man.
message board, we had like the post-its by the message
Yep.
board. and
Oh
all
yeah,
that shit.
man.
Yeah.
Mom would leave a note like
Yeah.
in the middle of the, like at the summertime, like there would be like a note of things you had to do.
Yeah,
Damn it.
or like you would leave a
called?
note like, "Hey, I'm going to so and
Yeah.
so's house."
Like, where's
and
mom?
like-
Oh.
And
Okay.
like, did you guys ever do this? I used to do this all the time. And
I have a great
I was
story
supposed
about
to
a
leave a note, right? And so I would write the note, and then I would put it under the fridge. And like, if I was going somewhere where I wasn't supposed to be
Okay, I
going,
gotta hear how
I
this
would
is
write
working.
the note, and I would put it under the fridge.
So
And
say
like,
it
you
fell
never
off.
left a note, you know, blah, blah.
If
And I would
only
go
you
and
could
like,
use your powers for good. That's some diabolical shit.
It really is, man. I
and
didn't
I
even
would
think
like,
I'd do
I'd
that.
get in trouble. Like, well, you didn't leave a fucking note. And I'd be like, I left a note, and I'd get down on my hands and make a show
Oh,
of it. For
here it
It
is
slipped
again.
the magnet. It slipped off the magnet and it fell under the fridge. It's
I
just,
told you guys to
I
get
was a
rid of
smart
that
little
magnet.
fucker.
that magnet's the worst, Mom. It's like this has happened 10 times this week.
Turning your watch an hour back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, daylight savings again?
Oh,
That was 7 months ago. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, man.
oh man. So speaking of notes, this one time I had, I was waiting for my buddy to pick me up, and it was high school, and I was bored, just sitting there waiting. It was Witterman, who was always late. Always late to pick everybody up. The kid would be like, "I'll be over." So I'm sitting in my front yard, and I'm like, "Oh, I got these sparklers like around 4th of July." And you know how the summers, it was like 100 degrees.
He's a pyro, by the way.
I'm not. So,
that's what the lighters were
Yeah.
for when I got here.
so yeah, don't worry about that and the can of gas. So I'm like, "Oh, we got these sparklers." So I'm sitting there playing with sparklers, and I went to go call somebody. So I went to go use the house phone. So I light the sparkler. I throw it towards the end of the driveway. Well, it came short. 5 minutes goes by, and my neighbor and his son come running over to my house, and they're slamming on the door. They're like, "Hey, do you know your yard's on fire?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And he's like, he yells to his son, "Get the hose!" And I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" So I run out there, and there's like the yard is slowly burning.
I remember this.
And I run out there, I'm like in bare feet. I'm running there just stepping on it, trying to put it out. So the whole section of the front yard next to the driveway is just black. So I'm out there with like a hose and a rake. I'm just trying to like make it look normal. And then Jay, my buddy shows up to pick me up, and I'm like,
Go ahead.
so I'm like, there's no making this look normal. So I'm like, this looks decent. So I go inside, I write a note. I'm like, hey, and the note says, and I remember this, I go, "Hey, Mom, not sure if you noticed, but I lit the front yard on fire." And I had a cell phone too at the time. So I'm sitting there all night, like waiting for the phone to ring. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in so much trouble. Cause I'm like, well, Jay finally showed up, so I got to get the hell out of here.
Oh, that's amazing.
I
You
can't
wrote a
leave him
fucking
waiting.
note.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I left a note. I could have called her.
BTW.
So I don't know if you noticed, but the lawn caught on fire. The house is fine.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm like, don't worry, Mom, this is going to be great next year. It's like slash and burn. The grass will come back 10 times better next year. And it did.
And actually, your mom's got a nice yard.
Yeah, see? You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, man, God, I didn't know you wrote a note for that, though.
I did. I remember what it said, too. And then I love you, Mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
With my
man.
signature. Yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
Good times,
This
man.
is fun.
Dude, this shit.
Just reminiscing about all these old times, man. It's
But you think about all the stuff you and your brothers. I don't know. You guys got
I got a
brothers.
brother,
so
yeah.
I had 2 brothers.
I had 2 older
and
brothers.
I mean, it was bad. And the stories, like certain times you would be like at each other's throats, but then there'd be that like common bond. Like we got to get through this together. Or
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
all fucked.
they always had your back. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you had each other's backs
Yeah.
and like
You don't rat each other out.
No,
or anything
no.
like
You know
that.
what? I saw that happen with my kids like 2 weeks ago for the first time. Like, and so they're young. They're 5 and 3. But they were playing, and so we just moved. We're building a house right now, so we're in an apartment right now while it's being built. And so everything's a little tight. They're not really used to shit being like kind of stacked, you know. And we have these like glass jars with like all their markers and pencils and all that other bullshit. And they knocked one over and it shattered everywhere. And I'm in the kitchen, and so like there's literally one wall. And I hear everything that was happening. I'm telling them to calm down. They're not listening. Whatever. And I hear it happen, and I hear Gibbs go, "All right, we can clean this up. They'll never know." And I was like, I was gonna go in there and bust them, and I was like, all right, you know what though? That's kind of cool.
It is cool.
he's-
It is cool when
he's
you see
looking
it, though.
out,
Yeah.
Like,
When
he's
you-
like, all right, we can do this. We won't get in trouble, and you know they didn't get in trouble, but like,
But still, I mean, yeah, it is cool though, like to see them that early on trying to like just
Right.
backing each other up like that. Like
Yeah.
it's like that's your brother, that's your sister. Like I got your back. Like we'll fight. We'll like
That's just
Oh,
they'll
they
be
do
at
all
each
the
other's
time,
throat.
right.
Mine won't want to share this with
Yep.
that or whatever. But
He
bottom
hit
line
me.
is,
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I remember growing up too. Like, so my brothers, I don't know what the age difference was for you, but like, so the middle brother was 2 years older than me, and my oldest brother was 4 years older than me. So my brother Chris was like closer in age. But like he was same thing as him and his friends were always kind of dicks to me.
Yeah.
But like when it came down to it though, like if someone was messing with me or something like that, they always had my back with anything. Like Chris would like, you know, same thing with Mike. Like they would, I don't know. I'm sure you experienced this too. Like, it made life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like going through like junior high to high school and everything like that, dude, it was such a breeze. Like I was like, got my older brothers, I got my back. I know,
Nick.
yeah, you're a little back, Nick. Like everybody knew, like, and like it just made everything easier. I'm like, I know all these guys older, you know, I know the seniors, like I know all these guys, like, you know, it's no big deal. Like it was awesome.
Yeah, my brothers are like 5 and 7, so they were a little bit older.
Yeah.
The same thing. Like there was no I had any sort of chance of beating them up. Like it was just bloodbath.
Oh yeah, dude, I never had a chance.
Yeah.
Like I was always like
No.
the one, like the two older ones would always fight each other. And like I would always just like kind of get in there and try to figure out whose side I was on.
But like but same thing. Like my parents got divorced and shit, and they stepped up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they were like became like, you know, role model type, and were there for you whenever you needed them and shit like that. Went from whooping your ass to
Just
you know,
being,
being family.
and then exactly, and then like the older you get too, like I think it was a certain point to like where Chris went away to college or whatever. Mike moved out, and that's actually when I got really close with them. Is when they went away. It's like when we got like our relationships got like really strong, and then like and we were still like best friends. Like I'm with my brothers all the time. I talk to them constantly. So like that relationship with your sibling is just like it's a really cool thing. So like to see your kids doing that, you appreciate it.
Absolutely. Because same thing, like, dude, I'm really close with my brothers.
Yeah.
And our kids are close with each other, and that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's the best, man. So I think having a sibling, like, I know it's tough, like, you know, having a couple, you know, multiple kids, but like you don't want them to be the only child, because you know what it's like to grow up with a sibling. You know, like you've been there. And even so, like my cousins, I had 2 cousins that were the only child. Like, and they were always like, man, I wish I had a brother or a sister. You know, like it's like they had their cousins or whatever, or their friends, but it's like nothing better than having a sibling.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about, like doing all this shutdown crap. Like, can you imagine, like having an only child? Like
My nephew,
like it was hard enough to keep them playing with each other or whatever, but at least they had each other to keep entertained or you know, whatever. Like you've talked about
Patrick,
like,
man, my nephew,
Poor
he's
guy.
like 8 years old, and the kid has been by himself for 6 months. He was just like
and
alone.
they're
in Denver.
Denver, yeah. So
like here, like I have like my, you know, we have all of our friends here and everything, but my brothers, like my nieces and everything like that, like we could hang out with them, like, you know what I mean?
right.
And like FaceTime is like, it can only take you so far.
Yeah,
like when you're a little kid, it's like, man, I just want to go play with somebody. I want to go do something.
Like kids need to go play.
That's,
You know,
They really
need
do,
to,
man.
you know what I mean?
They have to. So
Yeah.
like to have their sibling, yeah, it's great. But then at the same time, like you split them up finally. It's like, okay, you know, Sam's going to school.
Yeah.
Ben, like we'll send him off to like a babysitter. He's in preschool now, but he's always asking where's Sam. Like he's always wondering where his brother is, because he's used to being with him 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
you
when I go
finally
pick
split
up
him
my daughter, so usually I pick up Gibbs first from his school, and then I go pick up my daughter. And whenever we go and we have to like stand outside the door, and they bring her out and everything now, and like he's there, and so she gets all excited. And so the days that like my wife will go pick him up, and I don't have him, she comes to the door and she gets all excited coming to the door. And then, oh hi, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's Gibbsy? I'm like, hi, baby.
Yeah,
It's
hey,
good to see you.
Hey, Dad, you're cool. Where's my brother?
Well, my wife was a only child.
Yeah.
What
Lonely?
Is it lonely?
Why did you?
Only?
No,
Was
that's
she
like
lonely?
I understand.
She had like parents and
both.
stuff. Yeah, but so like she was not having just one.
Yeah.
She knew. Like,
Yeah.
I missed out on having, because she sees how me and my brothers are, and like,
Right.
man, it'd be cool to have a brother
Yeah.
or sister to be like that with.
Yeah, it's like same thing with both my cousins who were only children. Both of them have 2 kids each now, because they're like same thing. They're like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Did you pluralize only children?
Yeah, only
The
children.
Lone Rangers.
Yeah.
I don't know how I said that.
Lone Rangers.
I did, and I was hoping no one caught that. Can we like edit that?
Edit that.
Oh, that's
But
good.
yeah, so yeah, man, it's yeah, the whole sibling thing's great.
It is. I'm excited. Like
Alright, so I'm
yours
good
are
on
what, 6 and 4?
Yeah.
So mine are 5 and 3. Yours are
At the moment,
4.
Well, they're 21 months apart.
Yeah.
So 4 and
so
well, Ben will
we're
be
kind of in the same age.
Yeah.
I always hate saying this, but I'm excited for like a couple years from now when they are a little bit more independent and don't rely on us for like food and water. You know what I mean? Like they can go make themselves a snack and shit like that. I mean, I don't want to speed up time, but at the same time, I'm excited to see their bond grow.
Yeah, for
You know
sure,
what I mean?
for sure,
Like,
and it will
help each other out. Because I mean, I remember coming home from school, and that's like me and my brother. That's what we did. Like, all right, we got to raid the pantry and see what we can.
Yeah, salami sandwiches.
Like my
whatever.
brother, my brother was like the king of. We had this this deep fryer.
Oh man,
And it made the house smell like fucking garbage, but like that dude could cook up.
Kyle
some
probably still
mozzarella
has that
sticks, man.
exact.
He probably
still has that
like-
deep fryer. I remember that deep fryer, like when he brought it to the Morley house. I'm like, it was just the most disgusting thing ever.
So gross.
We would go to his house like in the summer. We just all like throw everything in the deep fryer.
Yeah.
Like we had corn dogs.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
We'd
god,
go,
corn dogs
we'd
in
go
a
to
deep
Sam's
fryer.
Club and get those yeah packs.
Oh
of-
yeah,
Why is there not a foot-long corn dog?
That's a good question.
that is a hell of a question, and I think we might be onto
Seriously,
something.
Yeah, like I thought about that as like an invention. Like that fucking. Like,
I
dude,
love
what-
corn dogs,
yeah,
man.
What other like station would you go to at a carnival if you seen foot-long corn
Yeah,
dogs?
be like, oh, there it is. That's the one.
Gyros? Nah.
But it'd be like double fisting. You know?
Yeah,
like
you just
double
stick on both
fisting.
sides. You stick on both sides of it.
No homo. Like,
They're docking. Don't worry about it.
like corn on the cob. That shit.
We're staring at you.
Share a
you want
foot-long
one too.
corn
You
dog
know
with
it.
your buddy.
Yeah. Hey man, you want to go on a foot long?
Let's Lady in the Tramp that shit.
Just be in the middle. Dude, take the stick out. Take the stick out. Dude, I mean, like Cedar Point corn dogs,
Oh yeah.
best thing in the world.
I do not do any. I cannot fucking do any roller coasters.
No?
Whatsoever.
No?
And I know it's gonna come to like I'm gonna come face to face with one because my kids are gonna.
Oh, they're gonna be into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be like, what the fuck do I do?
Always or just
Like when I was like, I think too dumb to realize what I was. The double loop at like Jog Lake and the Big Dipper and shit
Yeah.
like that. I did all that. And at Raging Wolf Bob's.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh god,
Yeah,
Raging Wolf Bob was like the most terrifying because
need a neck brace?
Dude, no, the Big Dipper was the wooden one.
Yeah, yeah.
That shit was
Yeah,
suspect.
yeah.
Dude,
that's like the mean streak at Cedar Point. Like
Yeah.
you break your back on that thing,
Yeah.
man.
But I remember like being 8 and be like, I don't think this is sturdy. Like this shouldn't make these sounds. But now like I don't know, once like 12 hit or something. I don't know when happened.
didn't like it.
One summer, I'm like, nope, not fucking.
Is it
with those
heights
in-
or
Yes.
is it yeah?
Yeah,
heights?
okay.
Because I do, like I said, I do cement work. So I've been on like with companies where they have to do block work with like bricks. So you're like labor and you're like mixing mortar and then you got to take it to the
Get up on the
brickies. Like
boom,
here.
yeah.
And the one we were on like doing this like City Hall in Bedford and I'm on the scaffolding and I'm moving around like, dude, like I am terrible, like shaking, like quivering.
Yeah.
And the one looks down, he's like, dude, you're like 7 feet off the ground. Like you could probably just like get down and be fine. You know what I mean? But like just something.
Yeah.
with
Just
it,
hit you
like,
one
it ain't
day,
my
yeah.
Shit, yeah.
See, like I was like early on, I was not about roller coasters, and all of a sudden one day I just fell in love with it, man. That was like my favorite thing in the world. You know what? You know what took me to a weird place though was one of the Final Destination movies. There's a scene with like a roller coaster where they all of a sudden shit starts going wrong, and the one dude falls off, flies out of his seat, and like hits one of those posts. So I always think about it on the Raptor,
Yeah.
like because.
Because you're strapped in.
You're strapped in,
you're
like, I'm like
dangling.
you start going crazy, and then like there's those big ass posts, like
Yeah.
you know things, and I'm like, ah man, I think of that
It is
scene every single
Those
time.
Final Destination scenes stick with you. Like I've.
Think about it, you ever been behind a truck with a bunch of lumber on it?
lumber?
Never
Yeah.
thought
Yeah,
about
nope.
When she takes that one to the face, well,
Nope.
that's a weird thing to say. When she takes that one
He
to
takes
the
that
face,
wood to the face. I've seen that movie a few times.
Back to the Spice Channel.
Back to fiddling the wires.
But
yeah,
seriously,
man.
what was the first one was the plane, right?
Yeah.
That was the plane.
Yeah.
That shit. And then there was like the bathtub scene, the train.
Oh, yeah.
Where Stifler gets his head fucking.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There's actually, I think there's a new Final Destination movie coming
Is there
out.
really?
Jesus Christ.
But
Are
I
they
never
going
know
to-
it's
wait,
real
wait.
anymore.
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on. Are they going to space?
Probably.
Because that seems to be what like all the movies are. You see that Fast and the Furious are around like number 9.
Okay,
or
Fast and the
11 or
Furious
something.
just got ridiculous,
I
man.
don't even watch them.
Let me
since, like,
let me tell you about a
3.
scene I saw. So I was on HBO the one time, and I'm like, I'll watch this movie. It's one of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Fast
and the-
32.
And The Rock is in the hospital. He had just gotten like ran over by a train, and his arm's broken. He didn't get hit by a train, but regardless,
I know what you mean.
But he's in a cast, he's in the hospital, and then like all of a sudden he gets a call, and he flexes and breaks the cast off his arm. And he's like, all of a sudden there's like this chase scene, and he's in this ambulance, and it gets shot like with the RPG. It explodes, flips over, and he just kicks the windshield out, walks out with a Gatling gun, and just takes out a helicopter. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous, man. I'm like, are we not racing cars anymore? What happened?
New one, they're making another one right now, and they are going to space.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like the whole, like Michelle Rodriguez was doing like an interview.
NASA
and like,
needs your help.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
Space Force.
Let's take the fucking car thieves and send them out for national security.
So remember the dollar movies at Loman's?
Yes.
The
Yeah,
last time I went was Fast 5. So I get laid off in the winter. So like my buddy called me the one time like, dude, you want to go see a dollar movie or whatever? I think obviously before kids. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. So we went and see The Rock, cars. How bad could it be? Like, dude, like 20 minutes in, The Rock hadn't even been in it yet. And then like Paul Walker started doing like some karate or some shit. And I'm like, dude, I don't think I could do this. And he's just like, it's a walkout.
Yeah, we've been there.
They got us for the dollar. You know what I mean?
You know what? Yeah, you could walk out. Man, they just got so ridiculous. I'm like, what happened to just
I don't think I've seen any of them with The Rock in it.
No, I have not.
Well, don't.
I watched
because
when
I
they
turned
did
it off.
Tokyo Drift. I was out,
dude.
Like I watched that one.
I never saw. I have never seen Tokyo Drift.
No.
1 and 2 is where
1 and 2 was great.
I'm good with that. The first one's the best.
First one,
obviously.
That's a good bumper sticker. I've never seen Tokyo Drift.
We should make a shirt.
Really good.
We should make a shirt.
I've never seen Tokyo Drift.
I remember the first one. We were what, like
we were in high school.
16?
Yeah. Remember pulling out of the parking lot? Everybody was racing.
Everyone thought they were fucking racing, and then like
we get Narcos cars like Illumina, and we just like peeling out.
That '92 Toyota Camry.
And then next week at school, everyone had fucking neons under their car.
They had neons. You had the clear tail lights going. Spoilers. It's like, dude, this is my car so fast. We're all in car clubs all of a sudden. That movie it was amazing.
I never got into the car thing.
No.
I'm so not like a dude when it comes to like I work construction, I watch football, you know what I mean? But I am not. I appreciate a car for what it is, but I don't know shit about them.
Right.
No, either do I. know.
My uncle owns a Goodyear, so I know I'm never getting ripped off. You know what I mean? Like I know people who fix cars, so I never like learned how to.
Right.
And we were actually talking about that at work, which is something like I worry about with the dad thing is like I'm not the handiest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my dad was all hands on. He raised me, did a great job. We played sports. He coached my teams, all that shit. But he wasn't handy. So therefore, I ain't learned shit. You know what I mean?
Way.
So it's like, and then I work construction, so people think I don't know how to fix shit. I YouTube how to fix shit in my house.
You get a YouTube education.
But that's it. Like, and I think that's how my son will learn. And that's just
it's probably
that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, like, look, my dad was the same way. Like my dad was a cop, so like he did his shifts, and he was always working crazy shifts, and he always made it to my games, and you know. But there was no like learning how to fix, you know, the door or you know whatever. Like, we just didn't do it.
work on cars.
Yeah, we never worked. I mean, he had his truck that he would work on, but like knowing now, and I think we asked him about this one time, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing. It was just an excuse to go outside and have a cigar and have a drink." You know,
yeah,
like
for sure. I'm gonna work on the truck.
I would mess around with it and I would clean it.
Yeah,
but I didn't really know what I was doing. You know.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's kind of what he alluded to, at least.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. If I have to fix something, I'll YouTube it.
Yeah, for sure.
Or, like my father-in-law, he fixes everything.
Mine is ridiculous. Like, how did you learn how to do that? It would take me like 6 months alone to learn how to do something like that.
And like my wife, something will break in the house or whatever, and my wife will be like, "Hey, can you take care of that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Do you want me to call my dad?" I'm like, "No, don't call your dad." And then like 10 minutes later, I'm like calling Bob. I'm like, "Hey, I'm working on this." He's like, "Oh, you gotta do this. Do you need a hand?" I'm like, "No, I'm alright." He's like, "Oh, I'll come over."
That's why. Okay. That's why I always say I'm like, if there's one person I need to live forever, it's my dad, because he's a very handy guy. Like he's always been like. My whole family, like my grandpa, my dad, my uncle, they do everything themselves. Like always. And my dad always had us under the car, showed us how to do everything. So, but I still call him all the time. Like, I'm like, I got to do this. I'm like, I'm going to call my dad. And he knows exactly what the hell I'm talking about. As soon as I tell him what's going on, he's like, all right, you need to do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, I remember that from what you showed me. So it does help out. Guy at work the other day, I get a call from the secretary. She's like, hey, so-and-so's out front. It looks like he has a flat tire. He looks like he's struggling. She's like, can you go help him? I'm like, yeah, I go out there. Well, you know what you're doing, buddy? Not so much. I'm like, all right, I got it. So I change his tire, help him change his tire. I'm like, all right. I'm like teaching him. I'm like, all right, buddy, you got to crack him first before you put it up on, because he already had it up. I'm like, no, you got to take it down.
Yeah.
And you got to crack it. Like 2 seconds, we got it done. But it was just funny. I'm like, so funny to see people that can't change a tire.
Yeah.
Like,
We just had, it was a little emasculating. We were driving right down 91 and a tire blew out, and we have that like the jack that's in
the little
key.
one?
It's terrible.
My God,
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah,
freaking
you
thing.
gotta.
Well, that's the thing. He had the
lives
same thing.
He lives right down the street, so we called him, and he came with like the real jack, and he had his impact gun and all that.
Oh, the
So it's
impact, dude. Yeah, you're gold,
So,
man.
He was done in like 20s. But I work with him. Like, we work together all the time. So it's always, my thing is, I'll just bring up what's broken down at my house. Man, the furnace is acting funny.
You're like, so while we're on the phone,
I don't know.
It's like putting the note into the fridge. You're getting away with it.
yeah.
Exactly.
See, the thing is, like, with anything that I ever have to fix, like, I just start messing with it, just start pulling things. I just pull the whole thing apart and start like just fucking with it, like see if, and it actually usually works. Like if I start messing with things, I'm like, okay, I remember my dad telling me this. Okay, I do this, and I end up actually fixing it myself. There are times where I can't do it. Like I'll call my dad and be like, hey, I need help with this, and he'll come over or something. But yeah, man, like I still remember being in high school. I'll never forget it. I was like it was like 20 degrees. I just got finished with conditioning for baseball. I'm wearing shorts and a hoodie, sweating still from conditioning, and I'm like, my tire, I get a flat, and I remember calling my dad. I had a cell phone. I'm like, hey, I got a flat. He's like, all right, you know what to do. I'm like, fuck, all right. So I did, and I took care of it. But I'm freezing. My hands hurt because I'm like trying to crack the nut, and I'm like, my hands are fucking about to break off. It was so cold outside.
You know what though? There's something to be said about that, because if you just have somebody there to do it for you, are you really going to learn?
No.
You know what I mean? Like if you get in that one situation where there's no choice, like you got to figure it out, whether you use YouTube or whatever, it doesn't really matter. If you figure it out, then the next time it happens, like, oh shit, I know how to do that. Like,
and I mean, I've helped a lot of people do it.
Or you're going to be more apt to be able to conquer tasks that come your way. Like, I got this. I know I can handle this.
Yeah, I can do it. I mean, it might not be the best, you know, but I'm going to be able to do it.
Well, so I think about that though, like with my kids, because like my, you know, especially Gibbs, he'll be like, hey, you know, this doesn't work, or my Legos broke, or whatever. I'm like, all right, well, you got to fix it. And he'll be like, what? I'm like, well, just do it for me. I'm like,
it's a great life lesson.
You need to do it. You'll learn how to do it. And I've seen it work before, where he's like, oh, I know how to fix this now. And like, so
starting a game
small,
over or
right?
something.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do this. No, well, why don't I teach you how to do it?
Right.
Yeah.
Time?
And like, it's like my son will say, like, I can't do it. I'm like, don't tell me you can't do it. I'm like, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Just try. I'm like, if you could try, I'm happy.
Yep.
Yeah, and because that's the thing, is it is super easy, especially if you're in the middle of doing something and they come to you with a problem.
You're like, okay, here.
It's easy for you to just quickly fix it, you know, or do whatever. But they're not learning anything from it. And if you take that couple minutes and just be like, hey, all right, what are the steps? Remember we did this last time. What are the steps? And it's going to take a couple times, whatever. But like, they're going to learn then.
For sure.
That's my 6-year-old. My daughter is autistic, so it's a lot of things are very hands-on, and I understand her like mannerisms and what she needs when she's about to do something, but I have to like work, like, because that's the thing, like certain times, like with her shoes, she's got to learn how to put her shoes on eventually.
Right.
And it's a struggle and stuff like that. So I'll just do it because we're always in a hurry.
It's like, I'll take care of it real quick. It's an easy, quick thing to do.
Yeah. And then I could take because we've been into hiking lately, which was a good thing from COVID. Like, I got my family, we've been doing a lot of hikes and stuff, but like we'll be like, they get juice boxes when they get back in the car. So go get your juice box. I'll just go grab it instead of taking the time. Like, go grab your juice box, and I'll walk with her and point to her and stuff like that. But the son's, he's on point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's really good with that stuff. But I had him at work yesterday, and I always said, like, when, you know, because concrete construction, it's kind of miserable. It's hard work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I always said, like, man, if I ever had a kid, I wouldn't want him doing this shit. I don't want him doing this shit. And now I, like, look at it, it's like, I'm going to bring him on jobs when he's 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And not only teach work ethic and stuff like that, because I think that's important, but just learn a trade.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If you want to, like, fall back on, if you want to try something else, go ahead.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But you can always have something to fall back on.
Absolutely, man. There's nothing wrong with any of that.
No, like, and that's where, not to get like too off topic, but like people are too on to like college and think. I think kids
a lot of that, like
not every kid's meant to go to college.
No,
man.
absolutely
I
not.
think,
Well, it's not even, I mean, it is that, but also I think it's ridiculous to expect that every kid, once they hit 18 years old, needs to go to college. To me, that's the worst fucking time to send kids to school.
I think so too. And there's so many things, like I look back at it too, and I'm like, man, if someone would have told me if I would have gone with this company, like go work for the city. If someone would have told me, hey, go work for the city right out of high school, make your way in, move your way up, and you're going to be done and retired.
Years,
You know, you're going to be 40 some years old or 50 and you're done. Like you could retire from there with the pension and do it. It's like no one ever told me that. Like you go to your what's it called? Your guidance counselors. And like, this is what you need to do. This is what you have to do. Make sure you go to college. Make sure you do this. And this is the type of job.
SATs.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's gonna be a doctor. You're gonna be making tons of money because if you go there, you're gonna make this. And then all of a sudden you get out of school and there's nothing.
And the reality is, talk to almost anybody that did the traditional, go to college right after high school and all that kind of stuff. They wasted 2 years.
Yep. And a bunch of
partying and just put yourself.
Well, because you go out there and you're like, boom.
Because you're fucking 18.
Because you're 18 and you're free.
And you're off for the first time by yourself, and you're like, and you're not really by yourself because your bills are paid and food's taken care of.
Yep.
And
not to mention that
go to school and party.
Yeah.
And then you get to a college campus, right? You get there and they have all these different little stands and everything. They're like, hey, get a credit card.
Yeah.
At the time you're like, hey, you get this credit card right when you get out. Woo-hoo. You have a $5,000 limit. Okay, well, I'm using that. And then all of a sudden, everybody's in credit card debt. They're screwing up their credit right off the rip. They're getting themselves into trouble. And then all of a sudden, they're like, I have no money.
Right.
I failed out because I'm partying. And now you're back at home trying to figure something else out.
With a shitty credit score.
Exactly.
Yeah. But there's so many, I know a lot of union road work companies that need people that can't find guys. You literally can't find people to show up to work every day. It's like a different whatever.
Yep.
And kids out of high school, apprentices start at $20 some an hour with full benefits, pensions, all that.
But there's that
stuff.
mindset.
And then once you put in your journeyman time or whatever it's called, journeyman, you advance. You're making $30 some an hour, and you're going to college to try to get a job. If you're lucky, make that. You know what I mean? And then you got all the benefits and stuff. Right. And I don't know. It's not for. I don't know. It's off.
But here's what it's not off topic at all because it's a great subject because I talked to my wife and I were looking at houses, and I went to this model home, and we were this guy comes up to me. He lives at the house next door, and he's like, "Hey, you moving into this neighborhood?" I'm like, "No, we're just looking around, And we get to talking for a while. This guy's probably in his late 50s. Yeah. And we're talking about kids and everything. I talked to this guy for a half hour. He comes up to my car. He's just talking to me. I'm like, this is amazing. He's like, no one wants to talk anymore. So he's like, you can't have a conversation with anybody anymore. He's like, you just don't see it. He's like, not to mention, he's like, I'm an electrician, and he's talking about his kids and about kids nowadays and how hard it is to get them to work and have that work ethic. And he's like, I could ask a kid here to mow my lawn and pay him whatever amount of money. You know what I mean? And he's like, and they won't do it. Yeah. He's like, you can't find anybody. Like, dude, remember when you're little and you're like,
dude, I've never had a kid knock on my door and ask to shovel my driveway.
We used to walk around the neighborhood and be like, I'll shovel the driveway. I'll mow the lawn. Like, I used to go to my neighbor's house, like, I'll mow your lawn. I'll get a quick $20 out of it.
I will tip the shit out of the first kid that comes and knocks on my door.
You'll never see it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Do you think there's a time that it will just come around where people are like, it'll maybe go back to something like that?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
So messed up. But back to that workforce, I work for, like I said, 10 different companies. There's the crews that pour concrete and stuff like that. And I was in the union for 6 years, and I was always the youngest guy.
That's the crazy thing, because you don't see anybody younger.
Young.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you see a lot of older guys?
There's no 18-year-old kids that come to work. Dude, when I first started doing concrete, I was making $10 an hour and basically just getting screamed at by old Italians. Yeah. You piece of shit. And you just take it. You acquire the knowledge that they're willing to.
Because they'll give it to you too.
Exactly. If they show that you're going to show up every day and be working.
Absolutely.
Right.
But there's no kids. It used to be almost cutthroat where you got to do your best.
Do you remember when summer came around too? Remember summer we were in high school and I remember a bunch of our friends would get jobs with the city, we'll do lines on the field, do the landscaping, all that, working for the city in the summertime. That was an amazing job. If you get that, boom, that's awesome.
Well, that was a great job too because you were done at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, because you wake up, you get up and you're doing landscaping, and all of a sudden you're done. And
you're right though. I mean, again, even what boggles my mind is kids that do go to college, and that's fine, whatever. Yeah. But then they're home for summer break and they literally take summer break.
They do.
And like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
I remember 10th grade being like,
why aren't you getting a job for the summer? Go do something.
do you remember
make
10th
some
grade though?
money.
Like 10th grade, you turn 15. Now you could get a job.
Yeah.
My first week of high school, I was applying at every restaurant, grocery store. Like I got hired at Tops. My first week of high school, I got hired at Tops.
I remember, so we were 16 or 17, and it was when me and Witterman worked at
East of Chicago.
East of Chicago.
That's the best.
So I'm cleaning out of a storage unit, and I'm cleaning all this crap out because we were moving. I had to, fill it back up. But I found this box of old stuff, and I found pay stubs. And I made in 2 weeks, it was like $890 for a 2-week paycheck.
That's baller
At like
shit.
16, 17 years old, something like that.
I wasn't making that at Tops.
I was working. I can't remember. I should go back and see if I still have it to take a picture of it. But it was like 70 something hours that I worked, and like that was while we were in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I worked constantly, except for like an off season.
We're always there.
Yeah, always.
So my job was Subway. I worked at Subway on Euclid Avenue next to where Red Wing is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still there. I worked there when I was like 13.
Yeah, right.
The guy gave me a job because there used to be 2 for Tuesday. Remember
Yeah,
Subway? It was
yeah,
2 for
yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Buy one full on, get one free.
Hell yeah.
With the purchase of a medium drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and my dad would go in there, and like the one day he just offered me a job. I don't know if he was trying to molest me or whatever. I was like 13 years old. My dad's like, fuck it, take him. Go. You'll be fine. And then I started working there. Dude, I think it was like $5.15.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
I think it was like.
I worked for
$5.15.
Tizano's Party Center.
Dude, the Covadillas there were
Yeah,
legit.
they were amazing.
Yeah.
So I worked there. I was like 12.
Yeah.
So my brother Chris worked there. His buddy's dad was a chef there, and he would be like, "Hey, you want to come up here and work? We wash dishes, and we'd work till like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
My dad would come pick us up, and like get all that food after the parties were over. Man, we do the dishes and everything. Like, oh man, it was the best food ever.
I think at my first job I was 13 or 14, and like I said, my dad was a cop, and there was a body shop on one of the streets or whatever, and they were looking for somebody to help, like sweep up and do bullshit like that. So I just got voluntold to go work there, and so at like 13 years old, I'm in this paint shop where these guys are just painting, and there's these old timers just smoking Winstons with no masks on or anything. It's just fumes everywhere, and I'm
That
just sitting
mask
there.
comment was not COVID related.
No, exactly. I was like, masks on. I'm like, wait. Okay.
No, these
not
guys
the same
are just
thing.
huffing fucking paint all day. Like,
Yeah.
So he dropped me off at like 6 a.m. on a Saturday and picked me up at like 6 p.m. And all I did was like sweep up and tape cars and sandblast and shit like that.
Me and my brother would go work up at Wyatt's over there when we were like 10 years old. And they would just give us some cash. Like, it was all under the table. Like, even when I was at Chisano, it was like, we couldn't get it. It was illegal.
So,
Yeah, you were only like allowed to work a certain amount of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but I mean, that was awesome though, because I'm like, I'm getting
I
paid.
had
I can go
money.
buy some shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool. Like,
That paint shit though, I actually had a friend, it's totally sad and morbid, but he passed from, he had a drug problem and he like went out on a bender and he was painting a bunch of dope boys' cars, and he was like legit, like that's what he did. He did body work. He was like one of those super handy guys. He worked concrete. That's how I knew him, but he did body work on the side and painting 8 cars or whatever in the same garage with no mask on. Minus being not healthy, he ended up with like water or whatever in his lungs. And
it's legit. Like,
but
Because
that's
stuff you don't think
crazy,
about.
but
they would always tell me, like, you have to wear a mask. I'm looking around at these guys, and no one's doing it. I'm like, this sucks. It's hot. Like, little did I know it was training me for fucking 2020.
yeah. Gotta have the mask on, buddy.
But like, I listen to the old timers like that I work with, like in the union and shit. Like, wear your ear protection, wear your fucking
Safety glasses,
glasses, because I've gotten rebar jammed in my eyelid over here, and then I can't hear, and I'm like deaf now, and I'm only 35 from listening to saws and all that. Shit.
It's true though, man. Like, and the whole thing with like safety glasses, like, I take that seriously because I think about like one thing. I mean,
that would suck,
Dude,
because every time, like, if I'm doing like yard work, whenever I'm using the weed whacker, I always have glasses on, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because I've had some close calls.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck that, I'm not messing with my eyes.
I got a good friend lost a finger in the lawnmower.
No shit.
Yeah, like something. I think it was a sprinkler line or whatever, and he like went to pull it out, and it sucked his.
Oh
hand
my
back in and
God,
just slapped. Ooh. I mean, this happened years ago.
Yeah,
It was-
but
Still, man. Oh, that is awful.
So yeah,
I do think about that. Like,
but it's good sharing that shit because then it makes you weary about.
well, that's the whole thing with my
grass,
eyes.
like-
The whole thing with my eyes too is I went to this blindness awareness dinner. a few years back, and like these people are telling their stories about how they like lost their vision, certain things, and like one guy was talking about how he was doing yard work and like he got something shot up in his eye and he lost his eye because of it. I'm like, yep, that's enough for me. Yeah. I'm good because I'm like I've done it so many times where you don't even think about it. You don't care. You're like, that's not gonna happen. I'm good.
But that's the whole thing with parenting, with just life in general, is learning from other people's mistakes.
Absolutely,
you're 100%
you know what
right.
I mean? Like that's like basically, I don't know. The best people, obviously, the best people to get parenting advice on is other parents,
right?
You know
for sure,
right? And then that's all you can go off of.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a good point though, because I mean that's our job, right? Like number one job of a dad or a parent is to make sure your kids are safe, right?
Yeah.
And so like that plays directly into that, but like just teach them the right way to do things, and no one's gonna like it, because it's something to argue about, and I don't need to do that.
No, that's not gonna happen to me.
And, whatever. But like you just reinforce it and reinforce it and reinforce it. Then unfortunately you hear somebody else's story like this is why.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how many times do you say it to your kid? Like, see, this is why I told you.
Exactly. Yep. It's
we
true.
don't
You do
this.
exactly.
And
I told you 100 times.
If you can get them to learn those lessons on the shit that doesn't really matter, this is, you spill
as small as it can be
on the carpet.
Yeah.
They think about it. It's in their head.
We don't have food in here.
Exactly.
Whatever.
It's in their head now, and it's like, okay, they think about it.
Right.
Whenever I'm working on anything, like if I mowing the lawn or whatever, have any power tools out, my son will always grab his toolbox. He'll come up with his stuff, and he'll always have on his ear protection and his goggles. And he tells me, he goes, "Safety first, Dad." I'm like, "You're right, buddy. That's a good call." Like whenever I'm mowing the lawn, he'll come out with his little he'll come out with his headphones on. Like I have the little noise blockers, and he puts his goggles on. The ones that he has he has two pair, but the one that he always uses, they don't even have lenses in them. That's the best thing ever. But he always has them on.
That's good though.
But he thinks about it though. Yeah, it's something to think about because I'm like, you don't want to lose your hearing, you don't want to lose your eyes. So
I mean, I know when I worked for First Energy, like they preach safety on everything, right? And
everything. They're big,
and their stuff is, I mean, and it works. Is it's all tied to money. So like, what do they call them? Human errors. So like if they have human errors in your division or whatever, like you could lose your bonus at the end of the year, and like, and those are big money. Like you're getting a couple $1,000 at the end of the year, and just because numbnuts over here didn't wear his gloves and pinched his finger, now I'm getting half. Yeah, like that's crazy. So we would make sure we got on guys about it. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like you're climbing the stairs, you need to whatever,
get your shit together.
Yeah. But there was one guy I remember, was right before I left the plant. This guy wasn't wearing his gloves. Now, I don't know that gloves really would have changed anything, but this dude got his finger stuck in one of those fucking fire doors and ripped the whole fucking thing off. He like freaked out when it hit, and he like yanked it out, and like it was just hanging there, dude.
Anything like that, man, just makes me.
The dude did get in trouble because he wasn't wearing gloves. I'm like, dude, I don't know.
In that situation, gloves will not help you.
Field ass gloves.
Yeah, they'll protect you from anything.
I don't know.
There was a guy though that worked for the First Energy that fell into like I don't even know what the hell he went into. It's like a transformer or something. But he didn't have his gloves on. He went hand first in there and he got shocked.
Yeah.
And he was kind of fucked up or whatever. And then he's like, I'm fine. He ended up dying later that day because like it just cooked like
Did
everything.
You tell me this story?
Yeah, because it came up in
Did this just happen?
maybe a year or so ago, maybe.
No, there was another incident.
There was one that just happened not too long ago.
Yeah.
It involved like
a month ago.
Yeah, like concrete truckers or it's
Didn't
somebody
they back a truck into something,
Yes.
and then the line fell down.
but it was a concrete
I
truck
think it was.
into
Yeah, I heard
and
that,
it
yeah.
fell and then the driver was in the hospital, same thing,
And then
his insides were getting
Like 2 days later, I think died or something like that.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
one
sad.
guy died like
Yeah.
instantly. This shit sucks.
It's crazy, man.
But they,
That's why those safety, everything, like there's protocol for everything. There was actually, we went to a service center, and this young kid, he was using a power tool, and he didn't have all of his safety equipment on, and they were cutting a line or something, and he sawed right into his arm, and so the protection would cover his arm there, but it was open. He wasn't wearing what he was supposed to be wearing, his PPE, and he cut into his arm like bad, like really bad. And when we were talking to him, he had like this huge scar all the way up his arm, man. He was all sewn up, and these guys are all giving him shit too. They're like, "You see that sign up there?
Yeah.
You see where it says so many days without an incident?" It's like, "Yep, it's back down to 5 now because of him." It's like,
right. Well, again,
and they're all
bring it
giving
back
shit
to-
too.
Bringing it back to parenting, like the lesson there is just like there's reasons for rules.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not here to say like blindly follow, you know, whatever, but there's things that are in place for a reason. It's not just to piss you off.
No, but there's
I shouldn't say nobody, but most people aren't going to that are setting the rules aren't doing it just to make your day miserable.
Yes.
Doing it.
There's a reason for
good
it.
reason, right?
I mean, we've all been in that situation to where like oh, it's fine. Like it's like make it quick and easy. Just kind of forget about things. It's like it's not going to happen, and it does. Like it's just like you're like no big deal. And the next thing you know, you get your finger sucked into a lawnmower or something like that. Something stupid. Like
But
you don't even
that's
think about
just
it.
That's why you kind of always got to be on top of your game, because it's always like split seconds decisions with parenting. Like, dude, parenting is a split second decision, whether they take off or they're doing something stupid. My kids will run around like the thing, and we got this like rug that's like super slippery. And like they'll run, and every time they like run past, they'll like slip, and it's like, dude, you're gonna fall and crack your head open.
Yeah.
And then you like correct them, and then the next day they just do the same thing.
Just do it again.
But you got to get on them right away.
You have to.
Well, and it's
How many
reps.
times
It's
have you seen
repetition.
like your kids doing something and you're like, this could happen?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's fine. And next thing you know, that exact thing happens. I've seen my kids running around the dining room table and the chair's sticking out a little bit. I'm like, they're getting close to it.
Yep.
Next thing you know, one of them smacks right in the forehead.
And then if they start laughing and they're giggling and they're not paying
attention.
yes.
Smack their head into something. You're like, I knew that was going to happen.
That is parenting though, is like looking at the situation, like how can my kids fuck this up?
Yep, it's going there. And then
Right.
It is very true,
Like,
man.
how do I not end up in the emergency room right
I
now?
know,
Especially
right?
when you're by yourself and the wife leaves you with
Oh,
both of them
yeah.
or whatever.
You're like, so
all
this
right,
happened.
Yeah. By the
Leave a
way,
note.
Yeah. So why didn't you call me? I thought a note would be better.
Yeah.
Went to the
safer.
fridge, there's a note.
Went to emergency room. Be back later.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but he has
Don't
stitches in his
text.
forehead. I don't know if you noticed that when you put him to bed earlier. Yeah, no, I noticed.
Oh,
But
man.
that's just it. Like, okay, we're good parents. You know what I mean? But any split second decision can be. My buddy, he's a great construction worker, very smart, intelligent. One wrong decision, his hand gets sucked into a lawnmower.
Yeah.
So like same thing when you're with parenting, man. It's just you got to be.
You can get
on your
you can
toes.
get lazy for 1 second.
Yeah.
it.
I
How
mean,
many times have you climbed like on a ladder and you're like, you're working on something, or like this could go wrong.
Yeah.
Christmas lights.
Real quick.
It could go wrong really
Dude,
quick, but you correct and like a lot of times you'll correct yourself. You'll be like, okay, I'm a little too old to be doing this. If I fall, it's gonna be really bad.
Yeah.
I have not got sucked into that yet.
Oh,
the
no?
Christmas lights thing, and she hints at it every year, and I'm just like,
Oh, I am, man. I'm deep.
So
Like,
I
I can't-
enjoy it, but my house, and we just sold my house, but like I would always have him go up onto the peak of my roof because like I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm a bigger dude, and like I'm not trying to fall through my roof, you know.
How many years are you in that house? 5?
5 years. Yeah.
So every year, the first year was like, okay, no big deal. I'm kind of young still.
yeah.
Every year I went up on the peak of that roof, man. Every year I just kept thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna die.
Well, and the problem too is
See
we
what
got
happened?
stretches underneath. Like,
Well, dude, man, it was like the way we do it too, like in like the peak. So the one side of the roof, like if you slide off, there's nothing that's gonna catch you. Like it doesn't go flat at any point. So like I did roofing.
Yeah.
And I was in some shitty situations, but I'm up there, man, and I have to get the one side of the roof, and there's nothing next to me, and I'm like laying across the roof, put these like putting the clips in. I'm holding on like
I'm like down there videoing it.
yeah, he's like, how's it going up there? Awful. It's going awful. I'm
I'm gonna go
terrified.
inside and warm
Dude,
up a little.
I will write a great obituary. I swear.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome, dude. It's gonna be epic.
Well, the problem was too is we got more lazy every single year, and be later and later. Like the first year, we probably did it in like
was
October.
warm out. It was warm.
Nice
Yeah,
day.
wait till a
Like,
nice
let's get up
sleek
there.
frost.
There was days where like his wife would be like, "We gotta get him up today." I'm like, "All right, I'll be over." It's like pouring rain. It's like 50-mile-an-hour winds. I'm up there like Hurricane Sandy's rolling through. I'm up on his
No,
roof.
we're good.
Yeah.
I'm fine, dude. I'm totally fine. And the last year we just did the lower part. We're like,
Well, the
fuck it,
one
I'm not
year
going
you
up
cut
there.
your hand
I cut
on
my
it,
hand
and
bad, man.
I'm like, why is that one light red? Like they were all white, like clear lights.
And then like the next 5 are all red because when I'm twisting the bulbs in and like putting them on, I'm like, there's just blood all over the
Blood,
lights.
sweat, and tears.
Yeah,
He was
man.
down. I'm like, hey, can you get back up there and clean those lights up?
Yeah, hey man, Chelsea doesn't like red. It's like her least favorite color. You mind wiping the blood off?
That's great.
No problem, buddy.
And yet now they're talking me out of the Christmas lights again.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, more
Don't
reason
do it,
not to
man.
do it.
I know once the kids start begging, then I'll be probably
Well, so that's the
more
thing
apt
right
to
now
do
is
it.
like my 4-year-old is like so excited about Halloween,
Yeah.
and I'll do stuff like I'll put stuff out in the front yard, and he's big on it right now. So I'm like, I'm gonna go a little bit bigger this year. I know it's gonna be fun. Like I don't mind doing the Christmas lights at my house because I'm on a ranch,
Yeah.
so it's like, dude, it's
You fall, you're all right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Well, yeah,
kind of all right.
Yeah,
as long as I'm like over the flower
as
bed.
long as you're,
Yeah, but like once I get by the cement area, no, I'm not.
Well, yeah, because that's where the peak is.
Yeah,
too,
but it's like, I still think about it, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember when I was little, like sneaking out. So my brother's window, my oldest brother, we would sneak out his window and we'd climb down the roof, like out on the roof, and we would jump off the lowest part. And that's like, what, 8 feet high?
Yeah.
right.
Dude, landing was no big deal. That didn't hurt too bad. Can you imagine jumping off the freaking roof right now? My knees would just.
Dude, I remember growing up, we had a smaller house, and like it was like a, what do you call it, a bungalow maybe, or no, not a bungalow. What's it where there's just like one room up top, whatever.
Is it colonial?
Colonial.
No, it wasn't.
That might be a
I think
bungalow,
it's
right?
maybe
No.
a bungalow. I don't know.
Wait, I have a colonial, and there's more
No,
than one.
no, that's, like it's almost
Throw some names out there. We'll just name a few different models. It'll be good.
It's almost like one big attic, but it's like finished.
So it's like a
And
bungalow, right?
I think it's a
Yeah.
bungalow. So me and my brother had the upstairs, and like you go up the stairs, you either go left or right, and like there was no wall that separated the rooms, but we had our own spaces. But then on the back side of the house, we had these windows, and the roof was like basically flat down there.
Yeah.
And then right off of that, we had a swing set, so like you could jump from the roof onto the swing set and shimmy down, and then we were right on the lake. So like then we would just go outside. I mean, I was like 10 years old, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like I was partying or anything like that.
Yeah, let's
but,
go
like,
outside. It was
we would
fun
go
to do.
outside. It was
outside,
awesome, you know. And I'm just thinking, I look back at that, and we drove by the house. It was a couple years ago now, but like I walked back to the beach, and I was looking at the house. I'm like, that was kind of high, actually. I was fucking 10 years
Yeah,
old.
dude, you're jumping off the roof. You know what the worst part was? You sneak out, you jump off the roof, and you're like, we got to get back in.
Yeah, we didn't think that part.
No,
Yeah,
so I remember
right.
like grabbing the gutter and pulling ourselves up. I'm like, we were light.
Yeah.
But then that gutter
It's not-
was hanging pretty low.
Oh yeah. No, so that was the cool thing on that. The swing set was close enough that we could climb up, back up,
yeah.
and just like make the jump, because it was only like you literally would hop to it. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't bad at all. But
I'll never forget,
man,
man.
that
I
was
think
fun.
about that too. Like my brother Mike, my mom was in the hospital for cancer, and she was so my aunt and uncle were watching us. And the one morning we walk outside the front door and to Mike's room, where we would jump off the roof. He had a ladder propped up against the house, and his shoes were up there. Like, and we walk out, and my aunt's like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Like, Mike, you
You're
could
not
like
even
do
gonna
something, like
try.
grab the ladder and go throw it in the backyard
Dude,
or something. Like, come
I got
on,
a
man.
story like that. I slept over Bruno's one time. We were like, I don't know, probably junior year, sophomore year, something like that. And we, obviously we snuck out and went to go meet up with girls and everything like that. And the next morning I was leaving, and I think it was my dad was had to come pick me up. And he's looking on the side of the house, because his bedroom window was on the side of the house. And there's a ladder, like a case of Bud Light, and like shoes, and like, I don't know. It was like there was just a clear path.
Yeah.
of
You know exactly what's going on. You're like, oh,
all the evidence you need.
You're like,
to
Mr.
bust
Bruno was doing roofing. All right, he left the ladder out because he's going to be back up there today, so it's fine. He's like, and your shoes are out there? That's weird.
He's got.
We
a
were
foot
helping.
fetish.
He took my shoes. He was smelling them. He was sniffing them. I don't know what's going on.
You ask him.
Yeah,
right?
go talk to Mr. Bruno.
And calling him like, dude, clean up your yard, man. You're gonna get caught.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh man.
Those were the days.
Oh yeah. Dude, we do a couple different, and we've kind of gone through a bunch of them. We've already had some dad hacks and things like that. But one thing I really like to focus on is proud dad moments. Okay. Proud dad moment to me is like something that either you're proud of your kids, or one of your kids, both of your kids, whatever, or you're proud of yourself for handling a situation like that you like reflect on. You're like, dude, I actually handled that well, and I'm going to continue doing it that way. I think it's really important that as dads, we don't always talk about shit, right?
No.
And that's the one thing that I love about this podcast is like it forces us to talk about shit, and then hopefully helps us improve and do more of the right thing.
Absolutely.
So a proud dad moment like definitely helps. I love hearing them from other people because I learn from it. And then my hope is that someone listening to this, just found out that they're going to have a kid and be like, oh wait, it's not going to suck. Like I'm going to get to do something like that, and it's going to be really cool. So I don't know if anything comes to the top of your head of something that you're proud of. It could have been when your kid was first born. It could have been, yesterday.
I mean, there's so many, but like my son, because with my daughter, it's very different raising them. Because like I said, she's autistic. She's nonverbal, not potty trained, none of that. It's very hands on. It's basically like a 2-year-old.
Right.
But so but my son is very good at recognizing that we discipline her differently than we discipline him.
Mm-hmm.
Like she obviously can get away with more stuff because she doesn't comprehend or understand.
Right.
And he takes it like a champ. He
Yeah.
never says like, "Oh, Rissa got to do that," or you know what I mean?
Right,
Like
it's not
he's
fair.
all yeah, and he understands, but he doesn't understand. And there was another thing like she doesn't talk. She's at this new school and she's got a communication device. And she's getting like really good with it now. And whenever she'll like ask for something, say she'll want red peppers. She'll go to I want peppers, and we'll be like, what color? And she'll go to the color chart and hit red, and it says it peppers red. And he'll get like super pumped, like, oh, Rissa did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's like so like just awesome.
Yeah.
But then he can be such a little asshole.
They have their moments.
Dude, just instantly. Like,
Yeah.
But it's just that is probably like right now what's going on.
Yeah.
Because it's a struggle with I mean just raising a daughter and a son is different.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
you obviously discipline them differently. And
Absolutely.
Your son
Yep.
falls, yeah, get up, you're fine.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
your
yeah,
daughter falls,
yeah.
oh, you need anything?
okay?
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
let's get some ice on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
you're
it's
right.
obviously two different things. But the other thing was it was not actually a dad moment, it's more of a family moment. When like I said, I did the union work. I was a construction worker, whatever, and they were like, my union didn't cover like my daughter's like benefits or
Right.
not benefits, like speech therapy and stuff like that. They didn't cover her. My union insurance didn't cover it, so it was kind of we're in a shitty situation now. You know what I mean? So my wife basically like stepped to the plate. I was kind of miserable with the road work. It just wasn't working. You know what I mean? And my wife like, let's do your own thing. You know what I mean? Like supported me full fledged. You know what I mean? And that's hard to leave a career where you know you can provide for your family with benefits and a pension and
Yeah.
a decent hourly rate and all that to be like, let's go try this shit
Go
on
off
our
on
own.
your own,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So, I mean, props to my wife for
Yeah.
doing
Yeah, for
that
sure.
shit and supporting, you know what I mean? Because not only like the money factor and the insurance factor and everything, she was like, she knew I was miserable doing the road work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just like a solid ass moment.
I mean, that
For
goes
sure.
back to like having that partnership and really working as a team. I remember when I left the plant to go off and do this childcare business thing, and like it's a family business, but like I never wanted any part of it.
Yeah.
Until I realized what shift work was like and everything, and I was like, "Fuck, this sucks," you know. But I was making good money, and I was like, we were getting ready to get married, and I was like, "Look, I have this opportunity. Not everyone gets this opportunity. I'd be a fool to pass it up." And she's like, "Well, what does that mean?" I'm like, "Well, it kind of means that like if it doesn't go well, like I got to start over."
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, all right, you know, I'm going to support you and this and that." And like that was what 10 years ago or
Yeah.
7-8 years ago, and like same thing. She's just been so supportive, and like that makes our jobs so much easier.
Oh, for sure.
Like you can
That's-
actually focus on doing your thing.
Absolutely.
And you know, something I was going to bring up before, how you said like you took the day off so that you could take your boy fishing and when your daughter went to school and stuff like that. And like, you know, a lot of times, you know, we get hung up on, hey, if I work this extra shift or do this extra job, then I can afford to go on this vacation.
Yeah.
And that's great. Like
Yes.
those are good goals. But like sometimes you do the extra shift when nothing's going on, so that way you can take the time off. And that's just as important. You know, I'm not a huge believer in like work-life balance, and
Yeah.
we could talk for hours
No,
on why I think that's crap. But like, but I think it is important to understand what's important to you and your family, and saying if you just want to take a day off,
Yeah.
like you should do it.
Yeah.
Right. And like set yourself up so that you can do it.
Yeah,
You know,
for
if
sure.
you're lucky enough to be in a position that you can make that conscious decision, like, hey, I'm not going to work today. I'm going to go to the movies. I'm going to go to the ball game.
Yeah.
You know,
What have you.
back when you could do that shit, you know. That I think that is super important, and something that like I try and remind myself of, because I could work 24 hours a day if I could.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? But I have to, like, this is why I work that hard, so that way I can take
Do
my
the
kid,
extra thing.
you know,
Exactly.
do whatever.
do.
For those moments. Yeah.
Right.
But
that's for sure.
that's just it's like that's your job, is like not the breadwinner or whatever, as a father, as a husband or whatever, make money, support family, you know what I mean? But there's also got to be the balance, you know what I mean? You got to be there as a father and a dad, you know what I mean? Like you got to be there for all that shit.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure the electricity's on. Which, dude, I never give like my father credit, you know what I mean, for all the, like you don't think about
you don't think about that
shit.
at all.
Like, man, why was he bitching at me for turning all the lights off and all that shit, leaving the fridge open or not eating them or drinking the milk before it's spoiled and shit like that? Like,
it's like those are the things you never really think about at all until you take it for granted until you have to do it yourself. Like, oh, that's what my parents were talking about. Oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I'm an asshole.
Right.
You don't really think about it. And that's the worst part. It's like, these goddamn kids, they don't think about it.
Dude, we're
all
had
guilty.
cable. My dad kept me with cable. You know what I mean? My whole childhood.
Yeah.
And we had HBO every couple months. We get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Yeah.
whatever, but still, like, dude, I had it good. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like even like, talking about sneaking out and, doing the shit that we did as kids, and like why I don't understand why parents are so pissed off at me every time I'm like, dude, think about how much I worry about my kids, like, playing in the fucking backyard, dude.
that's
and like
just it.
I can't imagine, like, I would be pissed. Now, granted, like, we've got some time before they start doing that. Kind of stuff, and they're gonna try and do shit like that, and so hopefully I remember that, like, I did that shit as a kid.
Exactly.
But still, you're still gonna worry.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Like I used to be like, why is mom waiting up for me? Like, because you come home and you're caught and you're like eating gum and shit like that. I'm like, no, I'm totally fine.
It's fine, no, it's fine.
The thing is, tons of cologne.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. I'm good.
They'll
never know. They'll never know. They've never went through this. They don't know exactly.
Fucking knew.
Oh yeah, they're not.
They were all hippies.
Right.
Yeah. Grew up in the 70s, man. Like, come on.
So, but like, I can only imagine like how worried I would be if I don't know where my kid was at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they finally stroll in. Like, I'd be pissed too.
And at least we'll have the cell phone thing. They didn't even have that. Like, they had to be like, okay, make sure you get to a payphone and call me to make sure you're not dead at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I remember they used to always say, like, listen, if you're going to be out, you're going to be out.
Yeah,
check in. Let me
There's
know
always
where
the
you're
check-in.
at.
Dude, my dad was hip. He's like, listen, if you're going to drink, don't fucking drive.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Like, just stay wherever you are. Sleep
you're not
over.
stupid. You're not a 16-year-old. Don't drink. Oh, yeah, Dad. All right.
I'm not going to do that.
No problem.
Yeah.
Every time there was a bad accident, like a drunk driving accident, my dad would take me up to the scene.
Yeah.
Like, or not to the scene. He would usually take me to like the body shop, wherever they ended up taking the car, and he would show me the car and be like, this is why.
Yep.
And that's powerful. That's a powerful image.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
There's no better lesson than that.
Right.
No, you're like, this is real.
They'd have those corny reenactments though at school. Remember that?
Oh my
Like,
god,
that
man!
made it almost
Remember the
worse.
pregnancy videos?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, like it was like
they're
My life's
probably
ruined
not even
because of prom.
yeah, right. You
They're-
gotta get
Goddamn
pregnant.
prom.
You
They're
will
probably
die.
not even allowed to do that shit anymore.
I don't know
No.
what they
Like,
do now.
How can you assume that
They
that
probably just watch
person's
YouTube.
gender is gonna?
Yeah, they're probably
Yeah,
exactly. They're
that's
like,
true.
well, this might be offensive if we say that pregnancy's bad at this age.
Yeah, yeah.
We can't offend anybody.
Yeah, that's
I wonder what those videos look like now.
Amazing.
I brought it up before, like when I was in the Marine Corps, we had to watch these videos every once in a while to make sure that we were all on the same page. And there's one about domestic violence. And now, disclaimer, I'm not making fun of domestic violence. Like,
Yeah, we talk. Yeah.
here at Talking Dads. we do not
It's a
know
joke.
but there's this video, and we found it one day, didn't we?
I found it recently because
Yeah.
I've shown it to people at work. And it's hilarious.
So it's this dude. He comes home and he's like in his uniform and his briefcase and stuff like that. And he comes home and
wife's all
and
like,
he's just like disheveled, and like he gets out of the car and he kicks a soccer ball out of the way. He's all pissed off, and he comes
he's being a
in.
dick as soon as he comes in the house. He's
straight
just
up dickhead, you know. And
his son sit at the table.
like reading a book.
Yeah.
And the wife's got like a
She's got like an apron on. Yeah, it's like
reading
your
the Bible.
Yeah. Hi, sweetie. How was your day? Whatever. What's for dinner?
And she goes, oh well, I got some nice.
She goes, we something about like she couldn't make food or they didn't have anything, so she made
cold cuts.
she made a sandwich. She made I fixed you a sandwich.
Yeah, I fixed you a sandwich. And he just like smacks it out of her hand.
He goes,
It's like,
cold
"Fucking
cuts."
Cold cuts.
Like pauses as he's ready to backhand her. It's like, oh Jesus, man.
Dude, I remember like being in this like auditorium with like I don't know, probably 200 fucking jarheads.
Yeah.
And like, we have to watch this video before we can go on have our weekend. And like, everyone's silent. No one's really paying attention. This video comes on and the whole place starts fucking erupting in laughter. I'm like, I don't think this was the intention of this video.
So I think it's time to update the video because this is just funny to everybody.
Oh my God. But I always wondered that, like, what company is making these videos and like, you know what? This is going to get the message across to this 14-year-old kid. That,
You're like, I got it.
Or the actors like, oh, you nailed it. Oh, yeah.
Like, this is perfect.
Cut. That was perfect.
That was it. That was the one. Send it out to all the schools.
Call you one take Tommy.
Yeah, this guy's amazing. And they're all garbage.
Awesome.
Oh, because none of them made. I guess I don't know. I don't know if you could make one that would make sense for.
I still remember the pregnancy. So I still remember this video. There was a video about teenage pregnancy we had to watch in like junior high school. And they were talking about how easy it is to get pregnant. And it's like, oh, well, doing this. And if the penis is too close to they're saying that they get pregnant just by being close to each other. And I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, I can't even I'm not doing anything. She got pregnant, her pants are on. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Like,
that was a good scare tactic.
Yeah, it was a scare tactic.
Yeah.
What was there was one in health class or something, we watched it, and it was like a drug one, and the kid, like, literally the line was, I'll never forget it, this is crack and this is what you smoke it with. And there was like 7 people that found it hilarious, and then everybody else is like, what the fuck? I was one of the 7.
Yeah, I was cracking up.
Dude, I remember that.
Hey.
Like, wow.
Dad joke.
That was intended.
Nope. It's this one.
Oh no! See, it's not good now.
The moment is ruined.
There you go.
There it is.
I wish you could remember there's one that. There it is.
There it
I haven't
is.
hit the crickets in a long time.
There was also an accountant video. I remember Kramer was in.
Really?
The Kramer from
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
It must have been before he got.
Yeah, before he got the whole-
he became.
Oh,
Kramer.
before he was Kramer?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Like, it was like a terrible video. Like, he was like.
That's where we got to
acting in it,
start
yeah.
because it was
I
hilarious.
in an
Like, this guy's
accountant
great.
video,
Put him on
yeah.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You know, Monk.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub was
Yeah.
supposed to be Kramer,
Really?
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
and then I guess
Wow.
Michael Richards knocked
No
it out of the
shit.
park. Yes.
Yeah, he did, man.
Tony Shalhoub is hilarious.
Yeah.
He is. He's good.
There's a.
Dude, Wings is like the most underrated
it's
show
really
ever.
good. I haven't watched
Yeah.
that in forever.
It still
show.
holds up. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's not on anymore, but it was on at like
Oh,
Nick
right,
at Night.
right.
Yeah. Man, I remember that.
They don't play any of it, like step by step. I'm sure that's terrible.
Step
but
by step.
I'll tell you what, though,
shit
man.
was
I've watched some movies that I remember when I was little, and I'm like, this is the best movie ever, and I'll put it on. And I'm like, this is garbage. Like, there's
some
so
that
many
hold
movies.
up, and then there's
Some that are just terrible.
Like, all right,
but I remember them
have
being great, though.
I have a
Like,
really good example of that. I remember it was Chuck Norris and
Jesus.
I don't know, the blonde kid.
Oh, Sidekicks.
Sidekicks. And like the kid like daydreamed all the time.
Yeah.
And like he would have these
Yeah.
epic visions of him and Chuck Norris like taking on the evil empire and everything. And I remember it was on Netflix or one of those, like this was years ago. And I was like, holy shit, dude, we are watching this. Dude, I couldn't make it through 10 minutes.
No,
it was
it's
so bad.
What was the Three Ninjas?
Three Ninjas. I
Ninjas?
watched it
Yeah.
about a month ago. It was on Netflix, I think.
Rocky loves
yeah.
Emily.
I was watching. You know what the best part about that movie is? Those 3 guys that break into the house to kidnap the kids. When they're following the kids to school, and the kids are like going over the bike path or whatever, and they're like doing all these jumps, and they're like, "Oh man, rad!" And they're driving. He's like, "Slow it down, slow it down, slow it." I sent you guys that snap because I was
that's
watching
right,
it.
that's
I was
right.
like, "Oh my god, the movie was terrible."
Oh
Yeah.
God, I can.
You know
only
the best
imagine.
part about that movie too is the grandpa. He's like this ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they show the fight scenes, and it's the most noticeable
so
double
bad.
Yeah.
double ever. Like,
Oh, really?
Oh, it's so terrible. You can tell it's like a guy who's got like stuffing in his shirt, and like he's like this young dude. He's got like, oh, it's so awful.
that's
You have to watch it just for the
Yeah. Is it
I
on there still?
probably like that's something I'd run through with make the kids watch. Like, try this.
Yeah.
I tried with like what was it, Rugrats? Because
Yeah.
I grew up
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah,
I
we,
love
I put on the
Rugrats.
Rugrats movie the other day, and Sam goes, and like 10 minutes in, he goes, "Can we watch something else?" I'm
Yeah,
like, "Dude, this is gold."
Yeah. I'm like, this is funny. Watch this. This is funny.
Yeah.
I love to watch Rocco's Modern Life
Yeah.
because that was like adult
Doug.
humor. Man.
Doug.
I love
caught
Doug, man.
I caught Doug actually like 2 months ago at like 5.
Was it the Disney version or the Nickelodeon?
No, fuck
Oh,
Disney.
the
Disney one where he had like the
Disney's
quarter,
one
he had a
sucked.
3/4 sleeve.
Yeah.
Like it was like I'm like that was garbage.
And
Yeah, it's like this is
Roger
garbage.
was like rich or
Yeah,
something.
I'm like no,
Yeah.
Nickelodeon Doug was the best.
Yeah.
That
man.
was so good.
I love that show.
Pork chops.
This is the scene change.
Dude.
God.
Patty mayonnaise.
Oh yeah, Patty mayonnaise.
Oh God.
Oh, such good television.
Yeah, I know.
Skeeter.
Skeeter, yeah, Skeeter.
And then Mr. Dink would have that music.
Douglas.
It'd be like very expensive.
Oh, Douglas. God, I love that show. I want to watch it now.
Man.
I know.
Rocco's Modern Life too, though. Man, I love that show.
Yeah.
That
You know what was a
good.
terrible
Everybody-
show? I used to watch it all the time on Snick. Was Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
Ren
on
and
before.
Stimpy,
It was
yeah.
on before.
The log. Don't whiz on the
Yeah,
electric
don't. It was on the electric fence. Man, that show was
yeah.
like dirty, man.
Yeah,
I
that
forgot
was
about
dirty
that
back
show. I
then.
didn't watch it that much.
Mr. French Toast Man or something. He's like a superhero. But anyway, that show was just like
Yeah, that
something we probably shouldn't be
That
watching.
was like raunchy at the time.
Oh, it was
though.
so raunchy. But it was like no big deal. It was like it was on Nickelodeon, and then it was on before.
Remember like
Are You Afraid of the Dark was on after that.
sneaking and watching Beavis and Butthead?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was like the biggest shit.
Oh, it was amazing.
How was that show? I mean, I don't even remember what that show was really about.
Just two freaking
mean, I
stoners
remember
living in a house. And,
Yeah, I don't think that holds up, and it's just like mostly music videos.
Yeah.
yeah, it's exactly because they just sit there and talk during their music
Yeah,
videos.
Right.
And then there'd be like a little 5-minute story.
But it was on for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had the movie, Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caught these two whacking in the shed.
Oh,
All right,
man.
so one other thing we're gonna do before we cut this off is a dad hack.
Okay.
So a dad hack is something that like works for you to like, for example, something you do with your kids to either get them to do something like misdirection or like
solve a problem.
like like bribery. I
Bribery's
mean,
a
like you
good
know what I
one,
mean.
Yeah.
But is there anything that works for you that you do with your kids? Anything that like
That stands out. I need a minute here.
that's okay. So like when we did like for a small example, like Ian's is like a good misdirection type thing, like to get his kid focused on something. Like if they're doing, they're playing with their toys and you want to get them to go eat dinner, and it's like, all right, hey, I need you to do this. Like I need you to go run over here, do this, do some push-ups, like just kind of like a misdirection type thing to get him his mind off of playing with the toys, and then like, okay, now that you're done, let's go sit down and eat dinner.
Yeah.
Like just something like that. I don't know.
That getting my kid away from the Nintendo or now Sega for the past 2 days has been a thing. Because like I said, I don't like to keep
Yeah,
them down there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I kind of usually con them with, let's go play catch upstairs or do, I don't like bribing with like food. Like get upstairs and I'll give you M&M's.
Give you candy,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it did to a certain extent. But like something like that, like a misdirection type thing, or just intrigue him with something I'd rather him do.
Okay.
Make it seem exciting or something like that. Yeah.
Like let's go play catch together. Come
Right.
on, sister will come too. You
Right.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like something like that. And I don't talk like a robot. But,
That's not how I say it, but like I was trying to explain it.
but well, and then like not to get too serious, but with my daughter and shit, like it's all a misdirection because she's in not another world, but in a trance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So to get her attention, you gotta be like Marissa, and then like guide her and show her. So that's just like common knowledge, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
That's
for
just
sure.
What you do, but with the son, it's always something different. And he's so freaking smart. It's like he like reads when I'm doing. I'm like, no, I'm gonna sit here. And play
Yeah. No, I'm
Nintendo,
good,
but
Dad. Yeah, good
no,
try.
let me play one more time. You know?
Yeah.
What I mean? Like
Oh, yeah.
something like
They
that.
get you all figured out by
Yeah,
now.
I know. So.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to stay on your toes and adapt your techniques for getting them to do what you want to
Yeah,
do, right?
for sure.
I like my misdirection when I used for a long time, and it was probably a couple months ago. He just like got it. He's
Yeah, he's
like,
like, I know
dude,
what you're
I'm not
doing."
going to touch the door.
Get
I'm not
that
doing
weak
push-ups.
stuff out of here.
Because I know exactly what you're doing,
You know,
Dad. Yeah.
like,
You're
it's just
constantly
not
changing
happening.
things up.
It's just not happening. I'm
Well,
like,
to go back to
okay.
what he was saying, though, got to give you the.
Dad hack.
Got to get it in there.
It is good. I mean, I what I took out of that is like, you know, you like say what was going on in my head is like, say you're trying to get ready for dinner or something like that, and maybe rather than doing misdirection like how I did it, it's leave enough time that you can do another activity that you can then transition
for sure.
to and make it fun.
Making it seem exciting. Like, this is going to be awesome. Like, you're hanging out with dad. We're going to do something cool. This is, getting him excited about something else.
See, that is part of the deal, though, because the Sega and the Nintendo is downstairs in the basement, and then food is upstairs next to where we play catch. So then you get him upstairs, you bribe him to get
transition
upstairs.
there is easy.
Because that's what it's mainly about, is not just for me, like, get the fuck out of the basement, because I can't be down here with you the entire time.
Exactly.
And you'll fuck shit up if I leave. You know what I mean? So I got to get you upstairs, and then I got to con you by doing something like that.
That's good.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We all got our little things at work.
That's it. I mean,
but there's many, like with Logan, there's many stages of Logan. You have to like know how to read him. Sometimes the tough shit works. Like, dude, man up. You can't do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'll say that. Like, come on, man, you got to toughen up.
Right.
Like, this ain't cool. But sometimes you got to like be more lovey-dovey. Like, dude, it's all right, man. Take it easy. My thing with the boy is like, you only cry if you're in pain. Mm-hmm. Like, because you got to tell me you're in pain by crying. Like, otherwise, like, crying ain't going to solve it.
Yeah, the whining, the crying.
The whining. Like, quit the whining.
the whining.
Yeah, the whining makes me
nuts.
crazy.
Are you hurt? No, you're not hurt. Then stop crying.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's, you kind of talked before about, how you do things differently with boy and a girl.
Yeah.
My daughter, so she's 3. She's all of a sudden, just in the last couple of weeks, she's doing this whining thing where she won't talk. Like, she'll and she's a fucking chatterbox, but she knows when she's in trouble, and she'll look down and she'll like, I'm like, Sloan, stop. Big girl voice. Tell me what's going on. What do you want? Let's fix this. And it's just repetition, right?
Yep.
But I'm struggling with that right now because
She's 3.
I know.
But
So,
it's very frustrating.
That stage of it, though, it's like, it's so frustrating because you've been there and you're like, you expect them to be not doing that, like, obviously, but it's
But I guess
so
what
tough
I'm
at
not
this
getting
point.
is like Gibbs. I could always Gibson, stop. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Use your big boy voice, and he would do it. Like, he was struggling with it, but he would lift his chin up and he would look me in the eye and he would tell me, all right, this is what this is what I did, or this is what I'm trying to do. And with Sloan, she'll just, she's stubborn.
Yeah.
I'll be like, all right, well, go to your, it would work for Gibbs. If I told Gibbs to go to his room instead, if you put that kid in solitary, he'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
He does not like to be alone.
Oh, you know what? It's like,
But Sloan, she's like, all right, I'll go to my room.
Yeah, Ben will go into his room. Like, if he does something wrong, he'll just turn around and go into his room. He's like, oh, whatever, I fucked up. And he'll just go and hang out in his room for 10 minutes. I'm like, this is not working.
He's looking back. It's worth it.
He's like flicking me off as he goes down the hallway. He's like, yeah, whatever, I'm already on my way. You don't have to tell me.
But another thing, though, is for dads that work a lot, it's hard. Like, I don't want to come home and fucking scream at my kids.
Right.
Because, dude, I don't see them. During the summer, I see them for a couple hours a day.
Right.
And I try to make the most out of all those moments that
sure.
I have with all the time. I don't want to be the asshole. And my wife is, super cool. She'll, go out of the way to reprimand them. And then, if we get them something, she gives me credit for them because I'm not around as much. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the circumstances that it is.
And that's a tough thing, too, because it's so easy to come home. You're like, you had a long day at work, you're tired. And it's so easy to just kind of get pissed off or fly off the handle or something. And then you think about it, too, and then you don't think about it in the moment. Then they're in bed, they're sleeping, and you're like, that's how I ended the night.
Yep.
That's how. And then, or you think about earlier in the day, you're like, damn it, I shouldn't have acted like that. You have that regret.
To be conscious of
if
that,
you're conscious of it, if you actually think about it, then I think you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
All right. Well,
we got a lot.
It was good, man.
That was really good. I figured
Did you
it
have a
was
good time?
just, yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of fun, man.
Listen, I'm all about just life in general, spreading knowledge. Dad's talking about whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? As long as somebody could pick up something and help.
That's what we love about this whole thing, man.
That's just in life in general, through work, through whatever shit you go through.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's what this is all about, man. That's why we love doing this.
No, absolutely. I was pumped you guys asked.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Totally
Happy to have you on.
So
hey, you're busy, man.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, part of being a dad,
a
right?
bunch of brain cells before I was
Hey, part of being a dad too, man. You got enough going on already.
scheduling and everything.
Yeah,
So.
it's hard to keep track of everything.
No, absolutely.
Well, I'm definitely glad you made it out, Chris.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
awesome.
This is a good time.
Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're always happy to
100%.
have you on
Yes,
again.
dude.
100%.
good.
I mean, I could sit here and talk movies and
Oh my God.
and video games for
I have to say
days,
that, I have to
bro,
say my
so-
favorite part might have been when we all went through the channels and remembered every single
That was
channel.
amazing.
That was pretty
I can't wait
good.
to clip that out.
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, that's their clip this week.
Yeah, I love the blockbuster nostalgia shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely,
I love
man.
that
Did you
shit 'cause that
see
was-
the last
bed and
remaining
breakfast?
Blockbuster is now like an Airbnb bread
Yeah.
and breakfast thing? I kind of want to go.
I do
I don't know
too,
where
man.
it's at, but
You know what the best thing? We'll stop after this, but like I think about like where we went to where Blockbuster was. Well, actually Hollywood Video, right? And then there was,
we had Video Den. We had,
but the one though was like by Giant Eagle.
yeah, that was.
And then they had
Hollywood Video.
Little Caesars Pizza was like right
yeah.
next door.
Yep.
So it's like you go get your pizza,
every
you get your
Friday
movie,
night, you
and
got
you're
the
like, that's your
Bigfoot.
Friday night, man. You get the
You get
Bigfoot with the
Bigfoot with
breadsticks.
the breadsticks, and then you get a
Fucking
movie.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, the Bigfoot. Remember it's like that paper, like it slides
It's like
out.
3 feet long.
Oh God, man.
That greasy
fucking
fucking
4 of
nuts.
us.
So glorious,
Fucking
man.
4 of us, and we'd crush it.
Oh, it was the best, dude. Those
You
were the
get that
days,
cold
man.
ass marinara sauce
Oh,
for the
yeah.
breadsticks.
The breadsticks, the crazy bread.
Crazy bread.
Oh,
bread.
so
yeah.
good, man. So,
Oh man,
but anyway, yeah, we could do that all day.
good shit.
But yeah, thank you again, and we
Yeah.
covered a lot of great shit, man. It was a lot of
Absolutely.
fun.
Thanks
I'm
for
glad you had a
having
good time.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Steve, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Chris, you want to plug anything?
me. No,
Anything you
man.
wanna shout out,
everything-
plug,
I'm
nothing?
busy enough
I'm
with
good.
work. So that's cool. Look at my Instagram. I got some cool like pictures of concrete.
You do,
and
yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
So,
Yeah. Awesome. All right, cool. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the YouTube. Check out our website,
Dude,
www.
great memes.
you
Sorry
like
to
them?
interrupt,
Oh, you're good.
but dude, you guys are top notch memes, man. Like I started following you, like, and I've been so busy, and dude, social media is kind of driving me insane. Like
Yeah.
I try not to go on it
Yeah,
as
yeah.
much.
We try to
but
keep it all fun, man.
That's because that's what it's supposed to be. But like, dude, top notch. Like,
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna fuck with these guys. Like,
It's
Keep
fun.
it fun,
gets
man.
Me through the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it, man. You find something good, it's like it's going up for
Yeah.
sure.
So see that. Definitely check out our Instagram page
Yeah.
and watch that stuff. But and then also check out the website, www.thetalkingdads.com. Get yourself some swag. Follow our blog. We'll be doing some more bourbon reviews here coming up. And then, of course, download and subscribe to the podcast. Apple, Google. Now we're on Amazon, which is cool. So yeah, all that kind of stuff.
dude.
It's really good. Yeah, we're everywhere.
moving up in the world.
That's
Everywhere,
it.
man.
Yeah, so do all that. Tell your friends about it, and hit us up if you want to be on the show.
Absolutely. Happy to have you.
In the meantime,
Raise good humans. Thank you.
Peace.
Hey guys, if you love what you just heard or watched, and we know you did, do us a solid and hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends and throw us a comment, literally about anything. Your support legit keeps us going. Oh, and don't forget to give us that 5-star rating. We really appreciate you.